We'll try to talk over you. Is that good? Do I pause it? I think I'm just going to pause. Absolutely. Yeah, we're getting ready to start. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
How are you? Thank you.
This is about the event that Time War is helping us with.
Saturday,
Definitely.
right?
Saturday.
Yep.
Hand them out there too. And get some.
Okay,
Get
Thank you.
excellent. We might have to do that. 3-minute warning. Somebody starts to. No, you give a 20-second warning.
That is about the organization.
We're never. Opposition.
No, I'm worried. I'm worried about. No, I'm just kidding. I'm worried about Central Hudson. Or there's a few things on here, actually. You guys okay?
Yeah.
So Andrea, are you going to change the guest spot? Thank you. Yeah, and then Angels of Light. Perfect.
It's 284 for it.
Oh, to move it. Okay, that's terrific. Okay, yes, sir. You know what that was? That's the.
No rule, no direction. Don't tell me what to do.
It's an eye catcher for some reason. Okay. I guess I'm going to gavel tonight. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the town board meeting for the town of Unionville for April 20th. If everybody would please stand and join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. We've got a lot to cover, and we've got some wonderful guests, which we're very excited about. But our first order of business, though, will be to approve the minutes from the March 16th meeting. May I have a motion?
Yes,
for
so
the
moved.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No one opposed? Okay, we'll take care of that. Thank you very much. Now, we do like, because, you know, sometimes meetings can go on and we like to, you know, get into the details, especially in the middle and towards the end. So often we'll have any presenters come in and we'll put you on the front of the agenda so that you can stay. You're more than welcome, or you can leave if you have other things to do. So tonight we have 3 presenters. And the way it's going to work, because we haven't redone the room yet, it's kind of a hybrid. It's a Unionville hybrid, meaning we have 1 laptop over there. So as the presenters, when you are coming up, and Habitat for Humanity is going to be first, if you would sit here and then just adjust the laptop to whomever is speaking you guys have been here before, so you know how to do it. You all squeezed in on one last year, so. And we're very, that's right, 3, yes, but you were a pod, I remember. So we're very glad to have you back. And I'd like to introduce Maureen Lashley. You can introduce your team when you come up from Habitat for Humanity, our first presentation tonight. Yeah, come on up, Brian. We should clap in the finish, but yes, we can.
So good evening. Thank you for inviting us again. It has been our pleasure to get a chance to work with you post our last donation day. Betsy has been a font of information in how we can do a better job of meeting the needs out here in Eastern Dutchess and in particular in Uniondale. And while we're not here tonight to talk about building a home here, I do want to say to you that we are committed to finding a way to provide more and better services here in Uniondale. So we're looking forward to that. What we are here tonight for is to talk about our second annual donation day. And you were kind enough last year to let us use your transfer station to begin the process of educating the community about how we can repurpose tons and tons of material. The really good news was that we didn't have to educate this community because you already knew it. You have a transfer station that does amazing work. And that relationship has been absolutely wonderful, except for the porta potty incident. We won't go into that. And so we're really, really excited to be here again. And I'm going to turn it over to the two folks who are making this all possible. So I'd like you to meet Ryan Neshawat, who is the director of our Restore, and Jessica Miaxio, who is our director of development.
Great.
Good evening, everyone, and we are excited that we are hosting our second annual countywide donation day at our Unionvale transfer station. I'm not sure if all of you know, but just from that one location alone, we brought back 2 full flatbeds and 2 trucks full.
Wow.
So the commitment of the community and the donations from your community truly were seen, and with such gratitude from our team at the Restore. Our Restore is a program of Habitat for Humanity, and when you donate to the Restore, you're essentially donating to our mission of building homes. All of the net income from the Restore helps in that mission of building homes, and we're excited to say that events like Countywide Donation Day and the support from the residents here in the Unionvale, our Restore has built its very first house all by itself. So, and we hope that events like this will continue that, and we'll build more homes in the future. So logistically, I'm going to turn that over to our Restore director to kind of talk about the items we accept and don't accept.
So the event is April 23rd from 9 to 3. We have 5 locations throughout Dutchess County. If you go on our website to habitatdutchess.org, it gives you a full list of items we accept and don't accept. The main things we don't accept is clothing, medical equipment, and sporting goods. But again, it's a lot easier to look at the list. You get fine details of exactly what we take and don't take. But last year, Unionvale was one of the best spots for us to get donations. It was a hot spot. A lot of our volunteers are arguing and fighting to work there this coming Saturday. We're also opening on Sunday from 11 to 3 because of all the great donations we're going to be accepting. It's going to be overstocked. So we're going to be opening again Sunday from 11 to 3 to hopefully sell a lot of that stuff that we're bringing in.
Great.
So we open on Sunday after donation day. And just so you can get a sense of what a difference this made, on Sunday alone, from the items that we were able to have donated through this donation day, we netted over $10,000. And to equate that to Habitat, that's a foundation. And that means that we're building one more house because you and other communities like you were willing to do this. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that one of our key sponsors is Central Hudson, and they have also been equally wonderful about making sure that we are able to build houses as the need arises in this county. So it's great to have great partners.
One thing I think you should take just a minute, and if unless
Absolutely.
2 is fine, but I think
It's
you
me,
have
Betsy. What do you want?
You have a very, you have a wonderful approach about who you give these houses to. And I think you really taught me something when you said you'd been in the poverty business for over 25 years and you've learned really how to do it and how to just give people a quick overview on how what you do to get people into these houses and why it's so important and it works.
Sure, absolutely happy to do it. So we don't build houses for people, we build houses with people. And it's a true partnership with families who come to us with a housing need because they may currently be living in substandard housing, or they may currently not be housed. They may be living with family members because, as you know, it's very expensive to live in Dutchess County. So you can be at 50% of the area median income, making $60,000 a year with a family of 5 and still not to be able to afford housing. 1 in 5 people in Dutchess County right now are paying more than 50% of their income for housing. That is a prescription for disaster. It cannot continue. And so the Habitat model is very different than what are some disempowering anti-poverty programs. We expect that our families will have skin in the game. They will have to pay a mortgage. It's a subsidized mortgage because our families can't afford $300,000 for a house. Well, what their income allows them to afford, that's what they will pay. And they will pay a mortgage with a bank. It's a special mortgage that's created for Habitat. And in Dutchess County right now, M&T and Ulster Bank are the 2 banks that offer that. It's a Sony-made product with a capped 2% interest rate, but it's a great model for our families. Our families are also required, if it's a 2-parent family, to put 400 sweat equity hours into the building of their home, or perhaps working at the Restore. Think about that. Can you find an extra 400 hours in the next year to volunteer? But our families do, because that's how committed they are to home ownership. Their homes not only come with this first mortgage, but they come with what we call a soft second mortgage. That second mortgage is the difference between the fair market value of that house and what that family can afford. And that stays on that house so that it can't be flipped. Because while our families have never tried to do that, it's our job to protect our donors' investment to make sure that it can't happen. And then the third piece of our mortgage is a shared appreciation agreement. And that means that if that house increases in value by $100,000 over the 30 years of the mortgage, $50,000 of that will go to the family, but $50,000 of it will come back to Habitat to continue to build affordable housing. And you know, we use that term affordable housing, and that's what we're comfortable with. But what really happens at Habitat is we build houses that have an affordability factor attached to them. So no matter who you are, you pay the price that your budget will allow. We can't support everybody. We can't. If you make $18,000 a year, you can't purchase a Habitat house. It's that simple. You couldn't afford the taxes on the house. And P.S., these houses are all paying taxes. But we continue to work with you anyway. I was just telling the story of a family that came to us with a credit rating that I didn't know it could be that low. And they are now homeowners, not because we broke any laws, not because we fast tracked them, but because they put the time in and we gave them the tools to clean up their credit, to learn how to be homeowners. And that's another learned subject, right? If you've been a perpetual renter, what do? Something goes wrong, you call the super. But we teach you how not to call the super. But when you see that first drip, YouTube it, figure out how do you tighten that up so that you don't end up having a big problem. And that's the beauty of Habitat, is it just isn't about the house. It's about creating a foundation of knowledge that will allow you to be a successful homeowner. But never make the mistake of thinking we give anything away. We are telling people the opposite of what many of our social services programs tell us. We are saying you can do this, but we'll help you. Not you can't do this, let us do it for you. So that's why I'm loving ending my career in the anti-poverty movement and Habitat.
That's great. Well, we thank you. That's great. We hope you have a big day Saturday, and we'll see you then. Take care.
See you there.
Yep, thank you. Okay, next up, we have another lovely group, Angels of Light. Would Lori Decker and Tricia Jaffers come on up? Good to meet you both. Well, I know you, but say hello to everybody. And you guys just adjust that computer for whoever's talking.
Believe it or not, she didn't want to talk.
Oh, come on, just
I'm just not good. I'm just not good with this stuff, so. I wear my
It's
heart
there,
on my
just see
sleeve.
it.
That's all I can
Andrea will
say.
help you in the corner. She's gonna adjust your volume and don't worry, she'll take
Great,
care.
great, perfect. Thank you. Okay. So first of all, I want to thank you all for being here and thank you for letting us be here tonight, to speak about what we do. So Angels of Light started many, many years ago, probably about 20 years ago, as a family unit. And my husband and I saw a family at a CYO basketball game at St. Martin de Porres, and the little girl, it was obvious she was going through treatment. And as a mom, I've got 6 children. As a mother, I'm like looking at this mom with her daughter, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if that was me, what would I want someone to help me with? And I went up to the mom, introduced myself, and I said, the holidays are coming up. It was November. Holidays are coming up. I said, what can I do to help you and your family? And she goes, oh, thank you so much. I said, you know what? Why don't you give me the wish list of all your kids? And we will go out, we'll purchase, we will shop, wrap, deliver, and bring the gifts to your home on Christmas Eve. This way you can spend more quality time with your family as your daughter is going down. At that point, she was going 4 times a week down to Sloan Kettering. She was like, thank you so much. So we did. Christmas Eve, we went to her home, we brought all the gifts. Next year, we had 3 families. Then the following year, we had 5 families. Last year, we had 300 children that we were able to help through the holidays throughout the whole Hudson Valley, all 11 counties. And because of COVID, a lot of the families came to us and they said, you know what, thank you for wanting to give gifts for our children, but we really need help with, utilities and rent and food and gas, going back and forth for treatment. And so we decided to increase our mission. We've updated now to help assisting families with all of that, involved. So we have an event coming up on Saturday. One of our events is going to be right here, right at the beautiful park. And it's going to be a walk run. And I will let, Trish talk about that and what we're going to be doing on Saturday.
The purpose of the walk run is really to get the name of the charity out a little farther into the community. Lori's charity actually I'm a volunteer, serves 11 counties, but it's still very, very focused on Dutchess County. And if I go to Fishkill sometimes and say, do you know Angels of Light? They don't. So I said, if all of you remember the old Miles of Hope run that was always here in April, Lori did that for 15 years or something like that. And I always thought it was a great event. And people really look forward to it because half of the people walked. They didn't run. It wasn't a really competitive. So coming out of COVID, we said, why don't we do an event? Back in Time War, they were very supportive. The great thing about it, speaking of COVID, is that a lot of families are struggling, and much as they'd like to come to a walk, if it's $20 a person and my neighbor has 7 children, it's a non-starter. So this is children are free. And family max price is $40. So it's $20 an adult, but if you have 5 children after that, it's $40 for a family. So we just want to encourage everybody in the Unionvale surrounding area, just come. We're going to put the thing up for the Habitat for Humanity donation because I think that's good. But it's really to familiarize you. And some of the kids, when I started volunteering with Lori, I would say half the children didn't make it. What I see, my first child is now 10. He got leukemia at 1 and he's now 10. And now 80% of the children make it. They're cured. So it's really a very radical change in the last couple of decades. So it's a really hopeful story. But if you're facing cancer with a child, or you're facing cancer, Lori's expanded mission is she has a family, the mother has no husband, she's in renal failure, her son has a traumatic brain injury from a 6th grade football accident, and the 19-year-old daughter, who's the breadwinner, had lymphoma.
Yeah, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Yeah.
I mean, you can't really make that up.
No.
So they need everything. And what they also need, and this is what I found out as a volunteer, they need a nice voice on the other end of the phone. It just says, how you doing? So that's the event on Saturday. It's really fun. If you've ever gone out to the woods and stuff, it's a really nice walk and you'll see us there. So, thank you.
When's it start, Tricia? Is it
It's,
9:30?
you can come and register on the same day. We're gonna be open for same day at 8:30.
Down there? You're gonna
down
start right there?
It's all
Okay.
by the pavilion where that beautiful new playground is. At 9:30 will be the children's race around, is it the baseball green?
Baseball field, yeah,
Right.
half mile, yeah,
And the
Good.
adult one, walk, run, it starts at 10.
yeah.
Great.
So it's perfect, but for me, the most important thing is I never knew how many children in the Hudson Valley were actually suffering as much as they were, and the families and the mothers. And how many, like you said, did not make it. If you look at our brochure, not a single child in this brochure has lived. And it breaks my heart. And so our biggest mission really for what we do is try to make, give them the love, the support, and to let them know that, yeah, they're not alone and that we're here, for them, and to make the quality of their time together so we can take out the burden of all the stresses of the medical bills and all that other stuff that unfortunately they have to take care of. We try to do that for them. And never in a million years did I think, we didn't wake up one day and say, oh, we're going to start this charity. It just evolved, divine intervention, it happened. And here we are now, like I said, 300 children in this past November. So it's been pretty amazing. So, but thank you to our community, all you do.
Thank you for coming. And so that people can just, obviously, the more the merrier on Saturday.
Yes.
They can roll right on Saturday. They can
Yeah,
just
they
drive
can
in.
just show up. I've said
Yep.
to people, if you want to just come down and see what it's like, and if you have children, I think a lot of people are hanging out to see if it's going to rain.
So they
or
might,
it's
they'll
gonna be
come
really-
last minute.
It's such a strange spring. So I'm saying, if you just want to come and the mood strikes you, I
And
think
the
it's-
virtual as well. So if you can't make it, we have a virtual walk run that you could do with your children also. You can walk, half a mile with your kids and still be involved and not actually have to be here from now until April 30th. So that's another good, good plus.
On your website.
But
Okay.
any other, information or questions that you have, you can go right to our website. We have a lot of other events going on throughout the year. Like I said, it affects all the children and families in the Hudson Valley. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We hope you have a big, big day.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
for
Appreciate
listening.
it.
Your town clerk is somebody I worked with, what,
Really?
10 years, 12 years ago?
Oh, it's a small world. It really
Fabulous.
is. Yes, we know.
I know you know that.
That's great. Well, thank you, ladies. We appreciate it. Okay, third up is our utility provider, Central Hudson. And we're going to ask you to come on up, introduce yourselves, and to switch the computer around as you're speaking. And then I think we'll set the ground rules so that people on Zoom will know after you finish presenting things that they can raise your hand. And I have a couple of questions here to read to you when you're ready for questions. And so just let us know and we'll take more and go from there.
Great, thank you.
Okay?
Yep. And just want to acknowledge both Maureen and Lori's work at fabulous organizations. And I really encourage everyone to support their missions. I'm here to speak about a less pleasant topic tonight. It's about what's going on with our energy costs and utility bills. And I hope to tonight address the increases in energy costs and what's happening worldwide and right here in the Hudson Valley. Some of our customer assistance and payment programs and challenges related to Central Hudson's new billing system. So on the rising energy costs, I think we've all seen what's going on with gasoline and heating oil and propane. And unfortunately, the same thing is happening with electricity and natural gas. And it's not just here in the Hudson Valley or even in the United States. This is a worldwide problem. And we're going to review some of the causes that were for these high energy costs that we're seeing here, and also some of the steps that Central Hudson has taken and is taking to help mitigate some of these price spikes in market prices for energy. Recently, and in the last week or so, the New York Mercantile Exchange and also some market analysts predict higher costs for energy will persist and be sustained through 2022 and into early 2023. Particularly in light of the events that are taking place in Eastern Europe and rising demand for energy, both domestically and internationally. And while these are market predictions, I think we can anticipate that energy prices are going to remain higher than they were last year. The factors that are contributing to these higher prices are increased domestic demand for energy. At first, due to the very cold weather that we saw in January and February of this year, and unfortunately, those spikes in energy prices sort of set the level for what we're seeing today. Constrained domestic pipeline capacity, so there are not enough pipelines to bring gas from the production areas into New York State and into New England, which is curtailing supply and raising prices. Regionally, there's an increased reliance on natural gas for power generation with the closure of Indian Point. There's an increased global demand for natural gas as the United States is now a primary exporter for liquefied natural gas to supply Europe and Asia. And the growth in demand in Europe is expected to increase pretty substantially. The producers are supplying as much as they possibly can, but they're still not up to the level they need to be, particularly following their curtailment during 2020. They're still not back up to where they have to be. And also there's increased demand for electricity and natural gas as the economy begins to recover. We're seeing that across the board with inflationary pressures and supply chain issues. Unfortunately, we're seeing the same thing in the energy markets. So regarding utility bills, your bills are divided into three main components. There's delivery, taxes, and supply. And delivery charges and taxes do not vary. These are regulated. And these prices have not risen. The supply charges are for the electricity and natural gas itself. And these are provided by independent generators and suppliers. It's these prices that have risen so sharply. And both the usage, how much energy we use, and prices determine the cost of energy bills. So the utility bills reflect the prevailing market prices for natural gas and electricity, and these are pass-through. So Central Hudson and the utilities in New York do not mark up electricity and natural gas supply. Whatever we pay is what our customers pay. And these higher prices also impact bills for some of our customers who might buy their electricity or natural gas from third-party suppliers. And let me review what we've seen in supply prices in the last few months so you can understand how these have impacted bills. The sharp increases in price first began in February. Supply prices for natural gas rose 33% as compared to January, and electric supply prices more than doubled, which is significant, unheard of. And then in March, natural gas prices rose again by 24%, but electricity prices fell by 46%. Then in April, natural gas prices rose by 6% and electric supply prices rose by 18%. So we're seeing continued volatility in the market. It's hard to keep track of what's going on from month to month. It's very hard to predict what's going to happen in May because we're seeing continued volatility in April. How this is all going to play out in May is a mystery. We can't even get a sense of whether it's going to stay the same or go up a little bit or go down a little bit. So it's creating havoc, for everyone. And I just want to remind everyone too that since March 2020, Central Hudson has not suspended utility services for anyone and has not charged any late fees. So customers are protected from these prices, at least while this situation is going on. And also there's some issues with the billing system, which we'll get into later. Central Hudson and other utilities employ hedging techniques to help stabilize gas and electric supply costs and to help levelize some of these fluctuating market prices. So despite what we're seeing in the market, and the volatility, it could be worse were it not for some of these hedging measures that we take. And this includes contracting for a portion of energy at fixed prices and purchasing natural gas at pre-season prices and putting it into storage. So that helps us. For example, in the summertime, natural gas prices are generally lower. You buy it, put it into storage, and draw on these lower cost supplies in the winter time to help mitigate some of the high prices we see when demand is high. Just a word of warning about 2022. Gas prices are predicted to be pretty high this summer. So buying pre-season may not give us as much relief as we would hope for in a typical winter. So 2023, that's why we anticipate seeing continued high prices in 2023, at least in the winter. The predictions for later in 2022 and into early 2023 are going to be even higher. So as high as they're going to be this summer, there still appears to be an advantage to purchasing it early, even though it's not at the low levels that we typically see. So it's not a good situation. Now, we know that higher energy costs harm our customers, they harm our communities. The energy resources produced in the United States now supply both domestic and international needs, which is keeping pressure on high prices. This again affects not just electricity and natural gas, but other energy sources that we use, heating oil, gasoline, propane, and that in turn affects all the other goods and services that we buy. So these inflationary pressures are expected to continue, unfortunately. So let me talk a little bit about some customer assistance programs that Central Hudson offers, and then I'll go a little bit into our billing system.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Mark Molinaro put out a blast, which you may be about to address, that has utility assistance. It's the first time I ever heard about that. Is that what you're going to talk about?
Yeah. Assistance with utility bills.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't read it because my bills went up, but it's gone astronomical, but it sounded like there was a new program in Dutchess County.
These are existing programs. Central Hudson's offered utility assistance programs for many, many years. And shame on me, I should have brought along some brochures, but I'll give a supply to Brian and he'll drop them off at Town Hall here, and
Sure.
you can have them available for anyone who might be interested. And the information is also on our website at centralhudson.com. You go on to My Energy, and there's a list, or my account, and there's a list of assistance programs. So one of the programs that's available, it's coming to a close very soon though, is HEAP, the Home Energy Assistance Program. Is for income qualified customers. It provides a grant towards utility bills, and those who receive HEAP grants are also eligible for Central Hudson's bill discount program, where there's actually a discount on the utility bills for a period of 12 months. And the discount depends on what sort of service you take, if it's electricity or natural gas, but also there's a discount on your electric bill if you receive HEAP grants for using oil or heating oil or propane or other home heating fuels. So in other words, you don't have to use the utility provided fuel for heating in order to get a bill discount, and that will be reflected on the electric portion of your bill. Customers, for eligibility, customers can receive regular emergency HEAP, but they can be receiving benefits from SNAP, Medicaid, SSI, federal public housing assistance, veterans pension or survivors pension. So there are other programs that our customers can, or other benefits our customers can be receiving that would qualify them for a HEAP grant in the bill discount program. Central Hudson's Good Neighbor Fund provides grants to help pay for the energy bills for local residents who have exhausted all other forms of public assistance. For those who may not qualify for some of these assistance programs, because of income levels, we are offering extended payments for utility bills, no fees, no interest, and for as long as our customers need. It's being determined on an individual basis. It's an extended payment program. So you can take say a large balance that might be due because of the high energy costs and spread them out over a year or more if you need to. So that's available as well. You can do that by calling us, and that's another issue that we'll talk about, or you can even do that online to our website. You can avoid seasonal variations in energy bills by enrolling in budget billing, and that gives you an even amount that you pay each month over the course of a year. So you avoid seasonal fluctuations that you might see from high use in the winter or the summer. And the 12th month, there's an adjustment up or down to reflect actual usage and market prices. In the 6th month, there could be an adjustment to see how you're trending, so that you don't, to avoid owing a balance at the end of the year. We also have energy efficiency programs. Lowering energy use can certainly help with utility bills. We offer discounts and instant rebates for energy saving devices like LED bulbs and low flow shower heads and other water saving devices at area hardware stores and home centers. The ACE, any hardware store that's affiliated with ACE, and also Home Depot and Lowe's. There you can purchase, say, LED light bulbs and get an instant discount at the register. And we also offer energy efficiency rebates and incentives for high efficiency heating and cooling systems. Another option, New York State has a deregulated energy market, so you can purchase your electricity or natural gas from third-party suppliers. They may not always be the low cost, but if you can find one that offers a fixed price, that certainly guards against the types of price spikes that we're seeing this year. So, for example, some are offering a price of 7 cents a kilowatt hour for electricity. Central Hudson's rate in February was 21 cents per kilowatt hour, which is far above the normal rate. So those who were on a fixed price with the energy service company would have saved some money that way. Some of the energy service companies offer floating rates. Just beware of those because they tend to trend a bit higher. So now let's talk about the billing system. We are undertaking a major initiative to replace a 40-year-old legacy billing system, the customer service platform. And the reason we're doing this is because it was no longer able to accommodate the many new energy choices and options that are becoming available to our customers. Community solar, net metering, community choice aggregation, being able to purchase energy supply from third parties. These are all different types of energy options our customers now have. Under the old platform, many of these bills had to be calculated manually, and they were only growing. For example, for community solar, this summer we probably had several hundred enrolled participants, and today we have 10,000. So in less than a year, it grew very quickly. We just cannot process those bills manually. And even the new system had a lot of trouble doing this, as we know. So this transition to the new system has come with some significant challenges, and we know we're not meeting our customers' expectations. And we are very disappointed about that. We're seeing improvements. They're making improvements every day. And many of the programming issues that we have been resolved, but there are still some known programming issues, and we're discovering new issues every week. that we're addressing. We do expect that the known issues will be resolved within the next few weeks. So while many of the problems have been fixed, there are some areas where we continue to see problems, and those include accounts that purchase electricity or gas from third parties when paired with budget billing. We're still working at that out. Customers enrolled in community solar or CDG, as this is also called, although most of these programming problems have been now fixed, but I'll let Brian talk a little bit about that in a minute. He's got some updated information on that. And our customers who install and own their own solar panels and are in the net metering program. So a segment of these customers may not have received bills for several months. And some customers have received bills that have been canceled and rebilled. And that, of course, causes a lot of confusion. We're focused on debugging these remaining problems, and we're working with our customers one-on-one to correct their bills. And we also know there are concerns with estimated bills. And let me give you some background on what the estimated bills are all about. Prior to 2016, Central Hudson issued bills bi-monthly, every other month, and we read meters every other month. So the bills corresponded with the meter readings. And the bills that our customers received, residential customers received, reflected 2 months worth of usage. In 2016, state regulators required that Central Hudson now issue monthly bills instead of bi-monthly bills to help with household budgets, because receiving a 2-month bill could be pretty significant and was a hardship for many of our customers. But the state regulators also agreed that Central Hudson would estimate every other month and read the meters every other month in order to avoid increasing costs for our customers by increasing meter reading expenses. And so that's what we've been doing since 2016 for our residential customers. An estimated reading every other month and an actual reading every other month. Since last fall, when we implemented the new billing system, a subset of our customer accounts received estimated bills for several consecutive months instead of ever seeing an actual. And while most of the meters were really read, we had meter readers out there reading the meters, this new system overrode the actual readings and put in estimates. So we've fixed that problem. And now what we're doing is we've identified those accounts that have had consecutive meter readings, and we're correcting and reissuing these bills. And the act of correcting these bills is also causing quite a bit of confusion. So we're putting out some communications with these bills so our customers can better understand what it is they're receiving. And we also know that customers who have questions on our bills are having trouble getting through to us. They're experiencing long hold times to speak to an experienced customer service representative. We do have a contracted call center that's helping us because our call volume is understandably very high because of what's going on. And they're able to process what we call routine, simple transactions. But when it comes to questions about these bills, our customers really need to speak to one of our experienced customer service representatives. And we know it's taking a long hold times for them to speak to someone. So we're addressing that issue by bringing some more representatives into our contact center, more of our experienced representatives. And we're also looking at other ways that we can address these calls more quickly. We're also expanding the number of channels that we're taking customer questions. For example, we're addressing some of the questions on social media. So if we see someone has a question about their bill on social media, we're asking them to send us a private message, and then we're bringing that into a special We'll call a group of customer service representatives that are focused on just working those customers, actually proactively calling them and helping to solve their billing questions. So, customer service is really at the heart of what we do. And we are committed to successfully finalizing the transition to this new billing system. We do look forward to the day when we're back to providing our customers with a high level of service. Right now, that's not happening. We know it. And we are making every effort to try to correct the problems that we're seeing. It's a huge effort on our part. It's taking many hours. It's taking all of our employees' efforts. We have contracted help working with us as well. I know that that's of little concern to many of our customers who have trouble reaching us or seeing very large utility bills. But remember, we will eventually speak with everyone and address their billing concerns. We know it's difficult getting in touch with us. There are other ways to do it. And we're even just, I will say, we're even taking customer contacts that have been made through many of our elected officials. So we're receiving lists of customers who have reached out to our elected officials. They're contacting us directly, and then we in turn are reaching out to those customers. So we're working on multiple channels to try to address our customers' concerns.
Do the best you can.
To the best we can, yes.
So is Brian going to cover the solar part, and then we can ask questions?
Yep, let's do that.
Is that a good plan? Okay.
Thank you, John. Good evening,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you, Supervisor Moss and Council for having us. My name is Brian Finn, and I work specifically in our Poughkeepsie district. So to give background, I am the supervisor's point of contact within South Watson for all the municipalities in essentially Dutchess County, up to 2 municipalities in Columbia County. So I just want to thank the supervisor for being so transparent, especially on behalf of your residents from the start, even before any issues happen. I know you're always looking out on their behalf and reaching out, be it storm, billing, etc. So appreciate it. So what I've learned, especially about the town of Unionvale specifically, is many customers subscribe to what John was talking about, a community solar project. So you'll hear a couple of words, acronyms, they're interchangeable: CDG, community distributed generation, or community solar. So just as John mentioned, we've had many subways of customers with the new billing system take a really hard hit. And I would argue, at least from the influx I see, CDG has by far been the hardest, and that we have, I'm sure some in the room have known, and haven't even received a bill in many months, or if you have, it's the past couple of weeks were the first time that's happening. So and while I don't do CDG billing inquiries on a day-to-day basis, I've learned quite a bit in the past few weeks. And yesterday I learned from our team working this problem that in Unionvale specifically, customers who do subscribe to a CDG are likely one of 4 different projects. So 4 different solar fields, be that solar field in Unionvale or somewhere outside of Unionvale. You likely work with Common Energy. I believe that's right. That's the Common Energy, but so it's not just one solar field, it could be one of 4. I will do my best not to confuse everyone because it's quite a bit to take in. If you had if you were part of a community solar CDG project and had CDG billing before we went to our new system, September 1st, you likely had seen normal bills every month and there was a credit applied and everything was going well. Likely what happened to you, and so sorry, I'll go back. If those 2 projects were either part of, while run by Common Energy, were either called Myers or Sawgraves. So everything was going great, and then we went to the new system, and because we ran into defects with community billing, CDG billing on the new system at that time, September 1st, we put a manual block on all of those accounts. So for those that I know, the supervisor herself is one of them, went from September through potentially the last few weeks, never received a bill that whole time. So those blocks were intentional for those customers because the system just couldn't handle it. And there were so many defects being worked that once we knew it was going to be a human manually going through and changing the defects and working every single sub account and host account, we just knew it was going to take a while before we got those fixes out there. So for those customers who have experienced that and have had bills of recent, it may be a bit confusing because you may have 5 or 6 bills that you received in an envelope. I don't know if it's the same or different one in the same week over a number of weeks. And what that is essentially it's backdating or back billing everything that you had that entire time. I wish I could just speak around how confusing it may be, but if you remember nothing else, just know that the bill that you received with the most recent date, so say for example, it's for March 1st through March 30th, that will have a total amount due. That is what you owe to Central Hudson because it accounted for all of the prior months. So while you may have a bill for March in the mail, February, January, November, etc., you don't owe the top line of every one of those bills. It's only the most recent one. And the reason we sent them all was not only for your record keeping, but because every single bill someone at Central Hudson went through and made sure that all of your bills were accurate and that a credit was applied for every single month. And I know from the start, the supervisor was, very on top of making sure that, hey, Brian, are the credits going to be applied? And then I would say, wow, I have to go find this out. So I would ask people, are we going to apply every single credit so that, you would not lose out on? The answer is yes. So those do apply there. But that essentially is the first of 2 groups. So if you had billing beforehand, and then all of a sudden we put on a bill block and you didn't receive any bill until recently, those credits were applied and you probably have had a number of bills in the mail, but the only one that really matters is the first one. And from here on out, you should be receiving a bill every month and a bill with credits applied. Except, yep.
Those are 2 programs. What about the actual Unionville program?
Yes, and so those other ones I'll go into right now. So the other 2 by Common Energy here, the one is specifically, and it's actually called Unionville, and the other one is called Stanford or Stanfordville. So those are ones that at no fault of the town or the project came online, I think within a few days of us going to our new billing system. So we didn't even get to the point where we were sending out bills to those customers as if they were subscribed to a community solar. So most likely, if you subscribe to that program, you got normal Central Hudson bills as if you never even applied for that account. While we had records of it in the background, you most likely got a bill every month. And if you paid it every month, all the better. What we owe you is the credits that you've been accumulating because you've technically been a part of that program. So what's going out in the next week are all those bills or what we call cancel rebills if you subscribe to the Stanford project. So let's say, for example, you subscribed to Stanford and went online on August 27th, but you've received all your normal, when you think of normal Central Hudson bills, but there's no credits and you've paid them all. You'll be likely getting bills for record keeping purposes that show a credit. So I can't guarantee that it'd be a credit, but it's very likely if you've been paying your bills all that time, because it's us going back and saying, hey, we do know you were subscribing to that solar project. Here's your credits and here's all your information for record keeping purposes. Within 1 week after that is when the Unionville project specifically, they'll go through the same thing. And the reason it's 1 week after the other is because it truly is manual and it's a team going through every single account. And company-wide, we have more than 50 different projects. So it's just one after the other sequentially, Stanford, then Unionville. And again, the reason I don't guarantee that you necessarily won't owe us money is because there's a chance some customers haven't been paying us their normal monthly bills. And if that's the case, the credits will still be applied, you'll still owe money. It just won't be as much as potentially Central Hudson is telling you today that you owe. Again, I can't say that it's just me speaking or going to be very easy to understand, but know that, as John was saying, a lot of progress has been made. And while the first 5 or 6 months, we couldn't sit up here and say, well, bills have gone out or they're going out next week. That has happened. So hopefully, if you're sitting in this room, you've either received bills or you'll receive them very shortly. And no matter what, it'll be overwhelming to receive a bunch in a row. But just know that those should be corrected, credits will be applied, and then going from here on out, you'll just be, part of that community distributed generation for as long as you'd like to be, and will be sending out bills every single month.
So if Unionville, and I got an email from a gentleman today who's worried about his mother specifically. I think it sounded as if she's paying her bills regularly, but they've never gotten one credit. They signed up for the program. So in a month, could we guess that maybe in a month they might?
It sounds like that. And so what I was told is if they're part of the Stanford project specifically. then
This
it
is
will-
Unionville.
Sorry, the Unionville one, I was told within 2 weeks.
So they might see that credit.
They'll see those,
apply.
as long as they've been paying their bills, yes. So now if they haven't been paying, then they'll still likely owe Central Hudson money. But let's say they owe X dollars as of today on their most recent bill, that number will go down because we'll send what we call cancel rebills, but they're essentially corrected bills for every one of the last
But
6,
you'll
7 months.
indicate
and-
what it is.
And will apply the credits.
So people can read it and determine, or, right? I mean, it'll be obvious to them what the credit is. and
The plan is to send a letter with those bills that explains what's going on.
That would be very helpful.
Yes.
That'd be great.
And
Okay.
we're bypassing our normal billing process to do that. We have an agent that processes Central Hudson's bills and sends them out. We're instead going to actually print those bills right in Poughkeepsie and put them in an envelope with a letter saying, this is what you're getting and this is what it's all about.
So that,
Okay.
okay. All right. I want to, can I share a couple of things with you? Just, I don't have that many. So people have been calling you, as you've been saying. So one lady wrote, and I have her account number, which I can give you after the meeting. But this was interesting because on April 5th, $176.17 was deducted from her bank account. On April 20th, $176.17 was deducted again from her bank account. She called Central Hudson and was advised to go to paperwork@senhud.com, send in a copy of the bank deductions, her actual statement, which sounds a little odd, and then they would be able to credit that amount. They also wanted her to do it as in a PDF. Now, this is a lady who's a little older and doesn't know how to create a PDF and was very wary of paperwork@senhud.com asking for a copy of a bank.
Yeah.
Is that a spam thing? Is that real? Is this, are you having people do that? Would you give her better direction? I mean, what would you say about that?
Do you happen to know, Amanda?
We do have an email address, paperwork@senhud.com. I understand it might sound a little sketchy.
Yeah.
But I actually had a customer where I had him, so you need to kind of verify, right? Did the deduction happen?
Wait. Why can't you say, oh, yes, we got paid twice?
Like the customer saying?
No, why can't Central Hudson?
Oh,
Why is it
look.
on the customer? Why don't you look and say, you're right, 4, 5, you paid us twice. I'll give you a credit.
They must want to verify. Now, I had a customer and I was advised that I did need, so that is the direction, right? That we need, I guess you would say, proof that if our system is showing, yes, it was deducted, that everything
But
matches.
you have.
So the one thing,
Betsy's comment is you have 2 deductions.
but see, that's the
Right.
issue. I don't want you to go into the whole history of why this system didn't pan out as well as you would have hoped back in September. I mean, it sounds like a horrific thing, but your system should tell you that information so that the residents, especially elderly residents, they shouldn't have to prove to you. You need to look and say, I see it. I will make sure that gets credited. Can your system, after all these months, is it not able to do that?
I can't tell you, I'm not familiar enough with it. I think the best course of action is for one of our supervisors to call her
Okay,
and help her out that
Yeah,
way.
give us the account number, we'll
I got it.
work with her. Now, that was direction, that was many months ago, so I don't know why, so this is most recent.
This is in April, yeah.
Okay, give us her account number.
I just think we really need to be wary of asking people to prove using bank information, as you would know. I mean,
Yeah,
so if you can address
Agreed.
that and let us know in general that wouldn't be your policy, that'd be helpful. I have her
Yeah.
account number. I'll give it to you.
yeah.
Okay. All
By
right.
the
Now,
way, Amanda Saccato and Joe Jenkins are here with us today from Central Hudson, and we can gladly take questions out in the lobby after this meeting if anyone here has questions about their bills.
bring your statements if anybody has any or anything, and I'll hand this off to you. Okay.
No problem.
Great. Thank you for that. And then another question was, I guess this person is, thinks that your processes are dubious because they are They're worrying about your third-party bidding and how aggressive you're being, and you're talking about hedging and things, but how aggressive are you really being? Because, you know, the contractors you're using, how are you renegotiating? I mean, are you really on all facets of this? Because they're hearing a lot of rumors, apparently, that the renegotiations don't go well. There's a lot of friends and family that get business, could be an exaggeration, could be wrong. But they just want to make sure that you are covering all your bases and aggressively bidding on behalf of the residents.
Always.
Sounds like a layup
Always, yeah,
question, but it was written to me today.
Yeah, of course. No, when it comes to energy purchases, we do our homework when it comes to purchasing natural gas. There are a number of gas suppliers that work with pipeline companies. We're somewhat limited only because there are certain pipelines that come into our area, but we do have some choice as to who we can buy gas from. And since it's a commodity, it's just a matter of knowing that they can deliver and getting the best price. When it comes to electricity purchases, that's done by on the energy market that's overseen by the New York Independent System Operator. And this is how it works. We indicate to the energy market, to the Independent System Operator, what we anticipate our customers' energy needs are going to be the following day, based on weather, time of year, etc. That organization in turn finds generators that will be able to supply that energy, and it's done on a bidding basis. It's not something that Central Hudson does or can do, and this is done. It's not transparent to us as to how that all works. And they're looking for energy supply for all zones within New York State. And then the generators that have won the bids based on low cost supply energy to our customers. And whatever they charge is what we're billed. And then that's part of our supply charge. So we don't have much or really any choice in where that energy comes from. It's all determined by the energy market that's overseen by the New York Independent System Operator. But what we do is we purchase financial hedges. So that's a way of ensuring that prices of a certain portion of the energy that we purchase doesn't exceed a certain cap, or there's some adjustment to the highest price that we might be invoiced. So it's a way of dampening that market volatility.
Sure.
And I'll be honest, most times the hedging saves our customer money. For example, this year the hedging saved, I think, about $22 million on electricity costs and $11 million on natural gas costs. Sometimes hedging ends up costing a little bit more. It just depends on how the energy prices fare compared to the hedging tools that we
So it is working.
use.
That's great.
Yeah, for this year it
Good.
worked.
Thank you for that. Now, those are the only two emails that I got about this. Does anybody have questions? Lolita?
Yes.
Okay, so I have solar on my roof, and I also have a time of day use kind of thing. And I know what you're talking about, the bills for the last few months, because I've just been receiving a bill for, which were the basic cost. But today, this morning, and that's right when I even from the I received a bill which was exceeding the because was $750 something, which is really hard for somebody who has rooftop solar as well as a time of day. So I was gonna call out, because he said, you're here, I don't have to call you. But I'm just wondering what's going on there, because the bills seem exorbitant and the usage seems exorbitant too. But I'm also using propane for backup heat, so it should not be as high as it should be, but maybe it is, I don't know.
No, what we need to do then is look at your account, look at what you were charged in the past, see if there were estimates or actual readings, just verify the usage and make sure that that everything is right. I also know that for some of our customers who have received multiple estimates, and then they receive an actual bill, say in February or March, energy prices were very high in energy in February and March. Our intention is to take, if it's a high amount and the previous estimates were low, it's our intention to take that actual amount and spread it out over the previous months, so not everything is lumped into that high cost month. If that didn't happen, we need to fix that. So afterwards, let's go out in the lobby and we'll do that.
In the past, it always said there's the peak usage and the non-peak usage, and the current bill doesn't do that, it's just kind of on fly.
Yeah, all right, let's look at, see what's happening. But we may not be able to answer your question tonight, but we will make sure that someone, yeah, I know, it's
It'll be help.
it's better that way.
Do you gentlemen anybody have a question?
No.
No?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Councilman here. Oh,
You mentioned that you're doing quite a bit of the estimated readings. So if you had done an estimated reading in January when the rate was extremely high, and then came back and did an actual reading in February when the rates had dropped, and your January reading was high in consumption at the high rate, was overestimated, how does that work out for the customer in the end?
Yeah, it should be adjusted. Actually, it was the other way around. January was lower cost than February, but yeah, there should be an adjustment made to your bill to even out the usage, so that it's not necessarily. I mean, it's something that we're trying to do across the board, but we know that there are instances where it didn't happen. So unfortunately, when that happens to you, we may not be aware of it, so you have to let us know. And I know getting in touch with us is challenging. So it's a double-edged sword. We realize this. Yeah.
So one other question. So if a resident does not call, will somebody be looking over their account anyway, just to see if things are true to date?
If you like, just because I've seen a bit of it. Just as John mentioned, like as we're catching defects as we've seen them. So whereas in a normal day-to-day of my job, I don't see issues like this. It starts to come to the forefront in February when the prices were very high. And we thought that was going to be a manual effort of just taking customers one by one. But our IT team, I at least know for probably many thousands of customers, built programming so that it was corrected. And so I know that many bills were what we call cancel rebuild and went back out. But just as John said, that doesn't mean that it's fail-proof and not everyone isn't affected. So not everyone's looking at every single individual bill. There's just too many, but they take in bulk and rate classes and have been making fixes like that.
So you would suggest for people to call, just to make sure that they are going to get
reviewed
the correct billing.
Yeah.
Or should they just wait for the system itself?
Well,
or can they just pay you what they feel comfortable paying?
yeah, of course.
And then you can get back to them later.
Of course, yes, that is an option. I will say, just, Brian described the situation with the CDG or community solar customers where they may be getting a stack of bills, to reflect what had happened over the last several months. We're doing the same thing with customers who have received sequential estimated bills. We have the actual reads on file. They were not reflected on the previous bills. We're rebilling them, based on the actuals. And that will help spread the, take maybe when the actual meter reading was finally acknowledged at some point later, it may be high because the previous estimates were low, and that high reading is now in a month where the energy costs are high. So we're rebilling all of that to spread out those costs across all those low estimate months. So we're making a conscious effort to rebill those customers as well. And again, we'll be sending a notice out, a letter with those bills explaining what it is they're seeing.
And in some instances, they're going to have a credit. I mean, you're going to.
That's possible.
So,
Sure.
Well, the prices keep going up, but Councilman McGivney, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. I understand on the cost of electricity, you guys really don't have control over that, and I completely understand that that's really a problem that exists in Albany, where you spoke about they closed Indian Point without building enough backup power to put that power back in the market that was lost.
Yeah, actually, the backup power was the way we wanted to plan. in Orange County and the Cricket Valley plant in Dover and Dutchess County, but they're not large enough.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I
not
read,
large
I
enough.
think the number was 5 to 7 plants the size of Cricket Valley
Yeah.
would be required to replace what Indian Point put out in megawatts. So that's Albany that forced the shut of Indian Point at a certain time without realizing or without knowing, and I don't know how they can't know. There's not enough backup, there's not enough backup power to provide the network. So that's out of your control. Customer service is in your control. I mean, you guys are working at that. I know I heard a lot of horror stories out there. This estimated billing or this estimated reading, I went through it about a year ago before any of this happened. I was estimated for 7 months. And they said that just meter readers missed. But that was prior to this problem. What's in your control, like I said, is customer service. The power grid and Unionville. I got to give you guys kudos. You are placing new poles. I see a lot of poles through the Clove, so this is a step in the right direction. I live up in the northeast part of town, northwest part of town, northeast part of town. I'm sorry. My power comes in through Cambie Road. My power has been historically unreliable, out, under voltage, and I've contacted the Public Service Commission about it a few times. I mean, there's times in the summertime where in a high use part of the day, 5 or 6 o'clock, I'm noticing my LED bulbs are dimming. It's odd, so I'll get a meter and I'll go to the 2 phases in the panel and see how much power I'm getting in. And I'm under voltage. Under voltage is bad for refrigerators, compressors, well pumps, so this is things that you guys can do. I know it's off topic, the billing issue, but the grid out here is outdated. This is something that Central Hudson needs to update. I see some things happening in town, thank you, but there's other areas, guy wires that are broken, poles that are burnt from, wires being on fire, stuff like that.
He lives on Highview. And you've got
Yes.
like
And as soon as I
36
was-
pages of pictures of
Exactly,
Highview.
yeah. And if will catch up after, because that sounds like it could be specific to a transformer issue. Regardless, that's if you're at a range.
Yeah.
And I know it's part of greater concerns, but.
I know you're putting a lot of work in Highview because we sent you all those pictures and you did make some changes, but he's right, there are others, but I have to ask you something else to dovetail since you two will talk after. You put a lot of poles in the Clove and you lease space to Verizon and Altice, right? Okay, so could you up your rates that you're leasing to them or force them to move the wires on the new poles so that we can get rid of the droopy wires that they're not moving and taking care of? Isn't that a contractual? You own those poles. Can you force that?
Some of them are joint owned or some are sold by Central Hudson. So our real property services group, every time we do a pole replacement, whether it's plans like we did for probably hundreds of poles in the town this summer, as just part of distribution improvements, or after a car drives into it, which inevitably happens every day in our service territory. We're part of an automated contact system called Engines. So in specific instances like that, and so obviously it's unfortunately not just Unionville that has the issue. It essentially probably anywhere within our territory, or frankly, even the country, I'm sure there's issues of what we call double wood pole next to pole.
Right.
But quite frequently, when I get specific requests, I'll go to our real property services group so we can follow up with you after. And I know it's not just 1 or 2 poles here, it's many.
No, it's many.
But I can go through that group and have them send out notification, at the very least, an update that, hey, this is a concern.
All right, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Is that okay?
Of course,
Because we've
absolutely,
sent the pictures and I think we need a little intervention.
Yep.
But your help would be
Absolutely.
welcome.
Yes.
Councilman McMorris. Yeah, it's all right. It's like presidents. You never lose
My
it.
big question is, especially about the estimated billing. How come Central Hudson is giving estimated billings when in North Carolina, big metropolis, well advanced North Carolina, they don't have meter readers.
They have smart meters.
Everything is done by broadband.
Right.
said there is no need to have an estimated bill at any time.
Right. Be a wonderful thing to have smart meters on our system. We need permission from the Public Service Commission to install them. The cost is very high, and the challenge is to do this without impacting our customers. That's the challenge. And
Yeah, but I mean, how can it be that high up here when in North Carolina they can do it and their income is nowhere near what it is in.
No, I know, it's, everything's more, I don't mean to sound flippant. Everything is more expensive in the Northeast. It's really, it's crazy.
But
That's why they're moving to North Carolina, Dave.
So New York is slowly moving towards smart meters. It's starting to happen in various utility service territories. And I can almost assure you that it's going to happen here too. But it's coming, but it's not here yet. Probably.
Yeah. Mrs. Tillman.
Keep running. No problem.
Poles were replaced on my road. The anchoring pole is in front of my house. It wasn't marked to be replaced. It's at least 50 years old because I've lived here 50 years. It's the same damn pole. Called Central Hudson, we missed a pole. I was assured by some woman at Central Hudson, they don't miss poles. It's a Verizon pole. 3 different agencies came out of 3 different types of people came from Verizon and identified the marker that this is a Central Hudson pole. The Verizon wires that come to my house are underground. Are they coming here tomorrow?
No, I'll talk to them on the phone tomorrow.
I would like to have some muckety muck from Central Hudson come and look at this poor sick pole. Because it anchors or wiring going up to Bristol Road.
Do you want to give us, what, we can take your address outside?
I will take you over, we'll put floodlights up.
No, he knows you have bears.
No, they never came this year.
Oh, no, that's too bad.
That's sad, yeah, very sad.
I don't see any questions and neither does the town clerk on Zoom. So I think because Deb Slocum's here and you've got questions and.
Yeah, I have, sounds like everyone else is.
But Glenn, there's somebody behind you that might have one. So before you leave the room, do you want to ask him now or do you want to walk outside, Deb?
Oh, I can walk outside. I just want to know, is it for commercial accounts, like fountains and Millbrook? Is that supposed to be billed monthly? Or
Yes.
So we're just 3 months behind also when bills are double.
That for commercial accounts is a monthly meter reading.
I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Mr. Vilchak.
Yeah, I just want to understand, you mentioned before about the meetings that, people that actually read the meters. Now, we read our meter every month because it's a difficult location. Central Hudson always claimed they can't get in, I have to make an appointment, they don't make appointments. Central Hudson doesn't make appointments, they have to have access there all the time. So we read our own meter. So what you're saying, or what I understand you're saying from before is that even though we read our own meter, you override it.
No.
And do an estimate.
Not in normal practice. If you read your own meter and submit that to us, we'll use that meter reading for the billing.
We've gotten bills where we sent in the reading and it says estimated.
Right, and that's new. That should be new. That shouldn't have happened before September. But since September, we're seeing that starting to happen.
Yeah.
So that's the problem that we're trying to fix.
So you're aware of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That should not be.
No.
How do you submit your meter reading? I'm just curious. Do you call, do you email,
that email.
enter your meter reading?
That email you mentioned.
The address?
Oh, the paperwork?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where you send it? Because we
Yeah.
have I believe, and I can get it to you, I think we have a special email address just for meter.
Oh,
It's
okay.
called, enter meter reader, enter your meter, it's in that. Well, let me just take your name and then I'll get that to you, but there's a
Okay.
special email just for, if you read your meter.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to give you this. This is for the woman who I mentioned. It's got her email address on it, and then you can call me to get her phone number. Can I hand that to you? Oh, here, thank you. And then I suppose what we could do is, since we don't see any more questions, it might be easier to have one-on-one conversations outside. So you guys can all go. Maybe I should open my office. I can use that table because none of our spaces. We have a few chairs out in the hallway, but
Okay,
you're gonna be okay. It's-
yeah,
Okay.
thank you for having us.
Just thank you for
All right,
coming.
thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Brian, I am gonna call you tomorrow about a couple of those other issues, okay? All right. All right, and were you gonna let us know when Union Vale's been installed on the solar is up and running, and then we could spread the word?
Yes.
That, we'd appreciate that.
I'll also
Okay.
send you the names of those. Yeah, like I said, it's a solar problem. I talked to neighbors from that. Since the 80s, and it's been an issue. I've been able to install a dial at somebody's house back in. The dial out. Do you know what the address
Good session.
It was interesting. Big. So John, how much did that system cost you?
Yeah.
The one you implemented in September? Maybe we don't want to know. Hopefully it'll, you know, you'll work it into place. Oh, it was? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Thank you for coming. All right, John, nice talking to you. Bye, Joe.
Yeah.
Nice seeing you. Best of luck.
I'm well aware of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Brian, thank you. Appreciate it. Is that your jacket? Somebody's jacket. Does anybody want to take a quick break or you guys? Want to run? Yeah, I'm gonna get some water. Me too. All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. We'll be right back. We're gonna get some water. Okay. All right. This is Town Supervisor's Report, so I'm going to go through a few things. And I will talk fast so that we can get through it. I did put each one of you, I gave you a profit and loss, which is really kind of an overview of the last 3 years.
Yeah. very
And
interesting.
I wanted to talk to you about it because of some of the things we're talking about tonight. So not to give government accounting or municipal accounting a hard time, but I think the problem with municipal accounting has always been that line item. So people never looked at expenses against revenues really. And I know that certainly that was going on in Unionville's Recreation Department for many years. And I just want to call them out tonight. If you look through this report that shows 2019, 20, 21, it shows some really good trend lines. In 19, the net income for the town was 930,000, then it was 1.1 million, and then it was 1.265. Given that 2020 was a tough year. And I want to point out recreation because I remember when I first got here, we were looking at, you take the expenses and you subtract them from the revenues, which they didn't have to do because the budgets were line item. And they were in the red 130,000 on January 1. And so we spent a very long time rearranging that. And the board remembers some tough meetings that we had. Jake Gosnell was involved in those meetings. He did a fabulous job reworking the parks. And what I think is really outstanding when you look at recreation in 2019, and I only did the last 3 because I knew this was gonna be a long meeting, but 2019, they brought in 45,000. In 2020, they lost 55,000, which we expected. We closed everything down that summer. And then in 21, this year, the recreation department brought in 82,220. They netted that amount after all expenses, which is absolutely fantastic. And events, the same thing. The trend lines are up. Each year got better, except for that, well, they did lose money, and anything that wasn't allowed to happen in 2020 lost money. Yeah, so we're not really looking at that as a trend line. The one big standout is the recycling center. We made $983 in 2019. We made $9,200 in 20, and in 2021, last year, we made $38,118. It has never happened in the recycling center, but it's a very exciting thing to see. And we made changes, and I mean, we got to tell the Habitat ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Neshwat, tell people to go ahead and bring the clothes and put them in that bin, because at least we get paid for that St. Pauli textiles bin. So if anybody brings clothes, we'll tell them that morning. But they, that we tweaked some things, and they just had a fabulous year. They worked really hard. They worked really well with Andrea on implementing all the decisions we made. So the kudos to them. In our Parks Department, in my first year, I remember Jake and I reviewed everything and came up with, it was going to cost $225,000 a year to run Time Warner Park. And that was the number. The budget vacillated a little bit, but so they don't get much income in the park, of course, but they do spend, and he spent 216, 221, 223. What we started to do was apply the revenue of the houses in the park, because they maintain them. The guys respond to them when something goes wrong. It's part of their in their territory, so to speak. So they are now getting the benefit of the revenue from any rentals that goes into the parks line. So, it looks like last year it cost us $142,000 to run that park, which is an amazing thing for a 500-acre park. So given all the hard work they put in, so fantastic job in the Parks Department. And lastly, of course, not of course, but these are the areas outside of the court, which does lose money, $25,000 to $35,000 a year, because we don't have much traffic. But these are the only areas of the town that really have the ability to bring in revenue that's not permit driven, that sort of thing. Building department is permit driven, but it's also based on a lot of hard work by George Kolb. And you see that he did lose money in 2020. And we also gave him a raise in 2020. That might have been the difference. But he brought in $12,000 in 2019. And then in 2021, it was $37,486. Now, that's a department that doesn't need to make a profit. That just needs to pay for itself. And these are services that we provide. But every bit of these dollars that we are able to make in these areas, even if it's by tweaking a few things, they go back to the taxpayers. It goes back into the budget and we save it. And I mention this because for the entire town, you can see that our net income started in 2019 to 387, then it went to 399, and then it went to 539. And that was a concerted effort on the board's behalf. Have been since 2018, putting money aside to pay for things like a dam that we knew that there aren't any grants for, and that's going to be very expensive. So that's turned out, everybody's chipped in and helped. That's been a wonderful thing. Finally, I will end by saying that our total fund balance, now, not to be quoted on this because fund balances have liabilities against them, which I know some residents don't understand. But we took the general fund balance, we moved money out of that and put it into a capital fund. It's unallocated, so we still have work to do as far as voting on things. But you can see where our fund balance, general fund, highway, and capital, our capital fund started at 2,979,000 in 2019. It went to 3,384,000. And then in 2021, we're at $3,918,328. So we are in good shape. We have really good managers that watch the pennies. And I always laugh and tell everybody we're in the nickel and dime business. We are. Little bits of money and tweaks actually have big results in this town. And $38,000 is a big result. Not in some businesses, but in ours. As a backdrop, I would just like to say that as we talk about through capital projects and things tonight, it's important to remember that we have to make wise decisions and things that are frugal for the town going forward, but we're in good shape. And I think that, that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Now, next, I'm going to go through tax collections are almost finished. 121 letters are going out to remind anybody, whoever they are that hasn't paid yet, to pay. Big difference economically, I think. This year we've earned penalties for people that pay a little bit, start 2%, 3%, 2, 3, and 4%, depending on which month. The penalties so far are $30,281. This exact time last year, they were $10,780.
Wow.
So a lot more people are paid, the penalties are low, and that is a really good sign. I want to go through some correspondence. I got a really good, interesting email today from a lady who is encouraging us to take the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge. And I'm not going to read the whole thing to you because we're short on time, but it has to do with restoring habitats for monarch butterflies. And we have some CAC initiatives here tonight that are going to talk about pollinators. I think we should look at this for next year because we don't have time this year, but it's an interesting thought. And I want to thank this lady, you know who you are, for sending it in. And I think that we need to get on that for next year. In correspondence, traffic signals, transfer switches, region-wide in Dutchess County, there's a whole list, front and back, and Unionville has one on here.
Yeah, single light.
Single light in Unionville, Route 55 at East Knoxon and Brusgill Roads. They're installing traffic signals, generator transfer switches at that intersection. That means we've hit the big time. I wanted everybody to know also that I discussed this in a work session, but we actually did get versus 102,000 last year. On March 25th, we received the check, which would have been for $239,478, which was our sales tax growth payment. And we discussed sales tax in detail, but that payment hit the account, which is great. Also very important correspondence from the DEC. The post-closure use modification for the Unionville landfill, the solar array construction certification report. I've gotten a letter from the DEC that says all is in good order. So we have satisfied condition number 11, which is an extremely big deal on the review that they gave us when we started with the solar development. And we have now received officially our department approval letter. Operation of the solar array and associated equipment must not pose a human health or environmental concern. We passed all those tests and they gave us our approval. I know some people have asked about it and we're in good shape with them. Rachel Guerrieri from the DEC, another division of the DEC. She works with Paige Lewandowski, wrote, they visited our Wingdale property. You know, that property up there in blue.
Yeah.
To remember, they like to do this every few years to visit the New England cottontails, to survey them.
Yeah.
And we're very excited that they found plentiful pellets, did not see rabbits there, but they did see a few woodcocks, which are very unusual birds and often very secretive. So they thought it was fascinating that we had some up in Wingdale.
Good.
In addition, I've got lots of correspondence this month. I think spring is here. The Dutchess County median residential sales price is now $375,000. So that's gone up. And I've got a list of all the counties. You can find this on a website as well. And we're not up there with Suffolk County. We're a little bit more than Ulster County. But anyway, the prices have gone up, which is something that Maureen Lashley had mentioned, the median price of housing. Did you all get this? Public Service Commission approved the new area code in 845 region. So I don't know if you saw that, but it will be of interest by the third quarter of 2023. 845 area code will exhaust all available numbers in the third quarter. So all existing wireline and wireless telephone customers in this overlay area can retain their existing one, but all new ones will start dishing out all new ones for new phone numbers. So just be aware, because that'll drive some people crazy. Then some public service announcements. I just want to make sure everybody knows this weekend we have two very important events, one at Time Warner, one at the Recycling Center. In addition, Molly McMorris, who is a Girl Scout, has and a wonderful resident, has a Burbank Rural Cemetery beautification project going on from 10 to 2 on Saturday and Sunday. So we've got a lot of community things going on. We can post this. I'm going to give this to you. Would you want to hand that to Andrew? You're closer. And then we can post Molly McMorris. She's got a website, and we'd urge people to go there. If you have time to come over and help with the beautification of the Burbank Cemetery, she would really appreciate the help. And finally, I'd really like to advertise the town of Unionville and the Unionville Fire Department. And the town of Unionville is all of us, and including Mr. Kading at the end of the table, the Highway Department. We're having our second annual Orange Bag Campaign, the kickoff, May 1st, 9:30 a.m. to noon, where we divide up into teams and go pick up a bunch of litter. And then the Highway Department will be picking up orange bags from the side of the road as long as you alert them as to where they are. So we'll be also passing out orange bags at the recycling center. And they're here at Town Hall. And I know the Highway Department has them already listed. I've got the cash flow report and I have balances. I mean, we basically, right? Yeah, basically, well, I don't distribute this. We've got high balances that are consistent with the general fund being high. And I believe the last thing that I promised the board that I would cover for you is the oil tank at the recycling center.
Yes.
So I did call about our used oil. And they said that if anything, they said it's not worth anything yet, but they are holding out hope. They said right now they'll probably be able to reduce our pickup charge a little. They said a tiny bit, but they said they envision, they're hoping that in spring, when the asphalt guys or when they're back out paving the roads, that they may run short and people will be contacting them. And if that happens, they're going to let us know, because then they'll come right over and get it. But they said that right now there's no market. Nobody's called them. Nobody asked them. There's nothing to be said. So anyway, I did ask them to give us a quote to talk about removing the tank. Okay. Which I did not put on the capital list, but it's something we may want to look at. Okay. Okay. All right. No, you're welcome. Now I'd like to go to board members' reports. I'm going to start and go this way. Councilman McGivney, anything you'd like to report?
I have nothing.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Councilman Derlin.
Sure. As you all know, we bought that flagpole. I finally came in the end of last summer, or beginning of fall. We have to get it in. I actually contacted Ed today, so I'll be coordinating with him to try to get that installed hopefully before Memorial Day.
Great.
Good.
All right.
That'll look great. At the Solar Center.
At Solar Center.
Yeah, very nice.
All right.
That's wonderful. Thank
I
you.
jumped that day.
They've been holding it over.
Nothing to do.
No, thank you very much. Councilman Welsh.
Yeah, I'll be continuing working with Supervisor and our code enforcement on MS4.
Yep. Councilman McGivney? Oh, sorry, Councilman. I'm hearing you talk, sorry. Councilman Gusikoff. You know, we should probably close that door just because they're having.
I'll go close it.
Do you mind doing that? 'Cause thank you. Sorry, Councilman.
You want to bring up the recycling center now?
Yeah, that's part, this will be, yeah, perfect. Does everybody have one of these? The board members have these? Superintendent has one.
So we've been talking about revamping the recycling center and doing some upgrades to it. what turned out to be a cost of the town has turned out to be profitable due to our residents taking advantage of the recycling center. So we are looking to invest in the recycling center to hopefully enhance the looks and functionality. Currently, we have poor conditions for the guys that work in the center weekly, so we are planning to install a larger, better equipped shed to convert into an office and attendance booth. With this improvement and a few others, the guys will be better able to keep records and run our center that much more efficiently and aesthetically pleasing to the many residents that use it. We're also hoping that the passerbys on 55 would get curious, come in and maybe start to take advantage as well. Some might say it's an eyesore, but it is what it is, and it could stand some improvement. So we're looking to do that.
Yeah.
I've researched plenty of attendance booths in the past, and we spoke about this before. They're upwards of like $14,000 to $17,000 without anything, just a shell. So with what we've put in place, this is kind of a rendition, but it's not exactly the shed. We're going to purchase it locally from Bayhorse up in Red Hook. So we have a spreadsheet here to give a cost analysis with everything, with extras, electricity, HVAC work. We're in just over $11,000, which is a huge savings. We have everything in place, so we're looking to try and pass this evening to try and go forward with it and hopefully get things wrapped up by the summer before the summer season comes in and these guys are uncomfortable being in what they're using today. So we're trying to make the place a little bit more pleasant for them. And
That's great.
me and Supervisor Moss have worked the area and noticed a few different deficiencies and looking to do that as well. So
Yeah, we're thinking that maybe after the Habitat event is over and we get this installed or a shed installed, and then there's some other design elements. Now that they're making a little money and they there's some design
yeah, we can go
elements that we
forward with
could,
that.
yeah, clean it up a little bit more and make it more attractive for people to come in, which is great. And we'll sell more permits that way.
Yeah.
So I think what we can do with this, now, as far as the customization, do you want to just, this picture is you're going to put in,
Well,
there's going to be windows? And-
Yes, the picture, see, they don't have a picture of exactly the way our attendance booth is going to look like, but instead of having these double doors that are there, it's one single door, an insulated exterior door. We're going to add a couple of windows, an observation window, insulated, and then a sliding door. So when people pull up, if weather permitting or not permitting, they don't have to come out of the attendance booth. It'll be big enough that two people could work in there. We can keep some records so we can figure out and find out where things are going well and things are not. The records are not being kept very well right now. So at least we'll have the room to do that.
They're pretty good. They're manual.
So,
That's
yeah,
the-
we're looking
that's the
to do a
issue.
lot of work. I know it's a shed, but as far cost wise, it's definitely more manageable for us than going a different route.
And it would looks like it would be
Yeah.
fit
it'll
right in
in.
there.
Sure.
Cute.
Mhm.
Okay. That's great. So we'll talk about that later in the meeting during the capital project.
Yeah.
All right. At this point, we're going to have a town highway superintendent report, and I believe everybody should have that. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, good. Thank you. We're usually scrambling the day after. We're looking for that. Okay, Mr. Kading, do you want to walk us through the 284?
Okay.
Just so you know, we have the road plan and the oil and chip plan that we can publish so that the residents will see it. We can send this out tomorrow if everybody likes this plan and we move forward. So.
We'll go to the 5-year plan first. The 2022 plan would be that we resurface. Resurface a small section of Clapville Road from East Noxon to Town Line, Cutler Road from end to end including if budget holds the dirt. That'll be asphalt the whole day. Barmore Road from the town line to North Parliament. And Timor Park Road, if our budget holds, we'll get Timor Park Road done as well.
Good.
And then we're still doing the engineering on hoof print for the drainage issues that are there. We're gonna oil and chip over Shaughnessy Road, Burbank Club Road, Mallory Road, and Old Canby, where we put new asphalt last year. And we're gonna hold on Robinwood for the oil and chip for budgetary reasons. But Robinwood will get done in 2023.
All the numbers are here. You went through the
Yeah.
measurements. We've got a full package. The
Do you
town board
need
has
to
had it
review
for
that,
a
or
week.
are you good with that?
I think everybody's good with
Everybody signed
that.
it, so they gotta be good with it.
Okay.
I think we should make a motion that we accept the 284 submitted by the highway superintendent. We've got all the numbers.
I would love to make that motion.
And, okay, make that motion, and we're gonna have one point of discussion, but go ahead. Make the motion.
I make the motion, we accept
Accept it.
the 5-year plan, 284, as outlined in this document. from
Great.
Highway superintendent.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Okay, discussion. I just wanted to mention before that one of the things that Mr. Cadian put in, that if we do the last row, that we'd be a little bit over budget, 14,723.60, which is over his permanent improvement budget. However, we tried to get, we looked again today, the numbers for CHIPS and Pave New York and all that aren't out yet, so we haven't gotten them. But we know the bigger budget was approved, but we don't know what our allocation is, and that might be more than enough to cover that.
Okay, oh, good.
So we'll come back to that. And we'll talk about this in a subsequent meeting, because that'll be a fund balance discussion if it's not, but I have a feeling we might be able to cover it.
Oh, good.
All right, so that being said,
Having said all that, am I good to get the asphalt going?
well, we're gonna vote on it, and then the answer is yes. I have a feeling, because everybody signed it already. All in favor of this 284 motion on behalf that Councilman Welch made, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Looks like you're good to go. You got
Okay.
your prices for tomorrow. Now, is there anything else you wanted to cover? We're going to be talking about your wish list items a little later. You
Okay.
don't need to stay for that because it's late, and I know.
Okay.
You know what they are?
A couple of just quick notes.
Okay,
We are pursuing some engineering on these large culverts we talked about at the last meeting. Supervisor Moss is in touch with trying to get some grants possibly for some of that, which is awesome if we can get it done. We did have a little bit of storm damage, the last couple of heavy rains. It's been addressed. The subdivision street sweeping will commence as soon as we can get on the schedule. Their schedule has been totally blown apart because of all these storms they can't get in. The Earth Day pickup, contact me either via the office phone or an email, and wherever you, as the residents put the bags, we'll pick them up. On the utility pole in front of the highway garage is a box loaded with those bags, and we will keep it replenished as the bags disappear. So feel free to grab the bags. If you fill them, let us know where they are. We will pick them up the next morning. Lastly, we have an employee that, for whatever reason, we didn't acknowledge, but last year he had 20 years of service with this town. I think he's a great employee, very dedicated, and knows, believe it or not, where every pipe is in the ground in this town.
yeah,
So-
we're gonna do something for him next month.
Okay.
I hope
But
so.
I think he needed to be recognized, and that's
Yeah.
Brian Bucks. So,
So that being said, I'm just waiting on here, but that's it. I also want to say that Ed and I have been going through this slow dance thing with FEMA since last
Oh,
fall.
God.
That is, it's tough. But your other employee, Christian Pisano, came over this week to help with coordinates on where the jobs, I did a fantastic job. So please thank Christian for us. He came to town hall and worked on a Zoom call
Oh,
with
good.
FEMA to finish up some stuff, and hopefully we're done with them. But it would be nice. But
I'll believe
we'll
it
let
when
you
I see
know.
the check.
Yeah, if they ask more questions, I may be on the phone to you and Christian, but thank him as well.
I will.
Okay, and thank you. I
Okay, I'm
think
going
that's
to
all
bed.
we have for you.
Thanks, Ed, yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, appreciate you staying up late for us.
Oh, we are on a 4-day, 10-hour day week now again.
Now, okay.
All right, so just so everybody knows.
Yep, very
Yeah,
good.
thank you. All right, have a good
Thanks for all your
night.
hard work.
And as always, you see something, call me,
Mhm.
especially garbage on the road. Should I mention that? Your garbage on the road?
No.
Okay, got a summons, right?
We got that taken care of, I think.
Okay, good night.
See ya.
Good night, Ed. Thank you. All right, next up, we have Town Clerk Report.
Thank you. So this month I met with Molly McMorris, you mentioned earlier, on her Girl Scout project. We worked on some of the website additions that's part of her program, which are ways to volunteer in the community. So if you check out the community tab on the website, Molly has added some nice pictures of some of the community areas to volunteer, like the fire department, and also the Meals on Wheels version in Millbrook that they have. And it'll link to the website so you can participate in those. So I encourage you to check that out. It's fishing season, as I mentioned last month. We were selling DEC licenses for everyone in New York State. And then, of course, Time Warner passes are available for residents and non-residents for a $30 fee. No fee for residents. And lastly, we are going to be setting up Shredding Day. It is always a topic of question. And right now we're looking at August 3rd. So as I get more information, I will certainly keep that on the forefront so everyone plans their shredding boxes accordingly. So
that's great.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And we had fun at the Easter egg hunt this Sunday.
Oh, yes. We had a lovely Easter egg hunt thanks to the Park and Recreation Department. It was
Yeah,
really
it
nice.
was terrific. All right, next up is a public comment on agenda items. Does anybody have anything? Did somebody have? No. Okay. Yes. If you're going to speak, do you mind going to the computer just so they can hear you?
Okay. I'll stay there for my next presentation.
Yeah. Oh, we have to do the march. We have the march. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm hoping that this Altis Optimum Cablevision contract means that we'll be able to choose one of them, because right now they have a monopoly. So we have to go with just one, whoever is in there. But I'm hoping when you're renegotiating the contracts that we'll be able to select and there'll be some competition for everybody.
In an ideal world, wouldn't that be nice? But
we won't get that, huh?
no, I'm sorry, we won't. There isn't even anybody else interested. It's just not, it's too rural.
I know, but.
And Verizon's going straight to wireless, that's their interest.
I know.
But we'll keep hoping.
Okay.
All right, now before stay right there. Thank you. Now the next up would be our committee, commission and council reports. And Councilman Welsh, do you mind reading the CAC's
I'll be glad to.
meeting report from March?
Yeah, CAC meeting, March 2022, Chairman Jen Rubo, Secretary Lisa Martell. The Uniondale CSC committee is working on compiling documents and information to complete the Climate Smart Community Certification. We are also seeking funding support and technical expertise for our solar field pollinator garden. The CAC is working on ways to integrate our natural resources inventory into town planning board decisions. We are drafting a questionnaire for the applicants to use in order to provide insight into the unique attributes of their parcel that should be taken into account when making land use decisions. The Town of Unionville Code references environmental overlay districts, as well as scenic view overlay district, but maps of these districts have not been produced. The CAC is working on mapping these vistas, special environmental areas, as well as historic resources in the town. Very commendable. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely great. Okay, thank you very much. And next up, we have a presentation by Mrs. Malik on behalf of the CAC called No Mow May.
Okay, we're going to trying to solve a problem here. We all know that bees have been endangered lately because of a lot of your pesticide and lots of habitat of flowers and all. So, and this is Earth Day, actually, this is Earth Week right now. So we want to start this initiative in our town, and we'll be the first town in Dutchess County to do it. So we'll have the privilege of doing that. it's to encourage the new growth of bees coming out. And been asking everybody to do something and basically not do anything in May about their lawns. Don't mow it. It's the easiest thing to do. And if you don't like to mow it, everybody will love it. Don't mow the lawns so that we have the opportunity for wildflowers to come up. We'll have dandelions and Johnny jump ups and all that the bees love, and it'll provide habitat for them and pollen for them and for them to be able to grow. And it's a way to start encouraging the bees from getting rehabilitated. One area has definitely been identified in the town of Unionville. That's going to be the solar fields up there. They're not going to mow them during the month of May. I know I'm not going to mow my lawn, at least some of it I will, some of it I won't. But what my plan would be to just mow around the edges to keep my landscaper happy. Otherwise, he'll have a fit because he said it'll get too long. But that's one way of doing it. You mow certain parts where you're going to be walking and leave the rest wild during 1 month. That's all that you have to do. And we're going to get some beautiful signs. And I don't have a video of the sign up here. I don't know if you have it on your computer, but they'll be available for you to pick up from the town hall. They will say it'll have a very nice, a resident in Unionville is doing it, and he's giving us a bargain price for it. For $7, you can buy the sign, put it up in your lawn so that people know that you're participating in the program. And it's going to be $7 a piece. And if you want to donate $3 for the pollinator garden for the future, you can give us $10 a piece for the signs. We don't know what other properties in town properties you'll participate in it, but I guess I'll work with you later on to and with the landscaper to identify some other properties that can be in it. So it's a matter of pride. The first town in this county is going to do it. We want all the residents, as many of them who have lawns, to participate in it.
Well, I think the solar developer said they'd be happy not to mow in the month. And they said it's not because he saves money, because they have a contract, so it's not really a money saver. So I think from the town's perspective, since the CAC is working on trying to put pollinator plant, beautiful plants around the fencing, which needs it, we want it to look more attractive there. It would be nice to put some signs out in front of the solar development.
Yep.
And then that could be advertised,
That's going to be 2 signs, and I know I'm going to take one.
Yeah,
plus the permit fee to get the signs up.
That's
well, as many signs as we can see all over the town, the better it would be for everybody.
So what do we want people to do? We want people to
come to the town hall, pick up those signs, put it in their yards, and for the month of May, do not mow your lawns.
Okay, and the signs will be here tomorrow.
Yes.
That's what we heard. Okay, the signs will be here tomorrow. People can come here and collect them. And if they run out, the people want to order more. What would you like them to do? Contact, just let the town clerk know that would be okay, and then she can pass the information on.
She can do that. If you want want me to be the point person for it, I'd be glad to do it and share the literature that we have with whoever wants to contact me. I don't want to give out my email, even though a lot of people know it, that's okay. But either way, I'd be glad to answer questions and share links, and maybe we'll write up a little email that you can send out to all the residents.
Sure, I'll put the article in. There's some interesting articles about why this is good for the environment.
And we can also send out an email saying exactly what they need to do, which is pick up the sign, put it out. And the reason we want you to have the sign is so that people don't think that you're being neglectful. Then we want them to know that you're being environmentally conscious, and it fits in with everything. We have a rural character. We are living in a beautiful area. We should have more wildlife around to enjoy. I know it looks very nice, and I have actually a rain garden outside, which I don't. It's sort of wild, and I really love it's full of bees and it's full of butterflies all year long. Because there's always something blooming in there, and they come in there. So need some nature live.
Great, that's a wonderful idea. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And as soon as the signs arrive, I guess we'll put them on at the solar development, and then we're in business, right?
And we can put one right outside here and one back there and stop mowing the area between here and the mountain.
Oh, well, we have to talk to the park manager if he'll maybe take a break of mowing. I don't know. Yeah, might be.
Well, you may need a brush hog at the end of the road.
Yeah, that's all right.
There's a house down the road from me that doesn't mow at all.
Yeah, we've been on this program for years.
But I know you already don't mow the lawn and the upper field behind plywood, and if you take a walk through that, it's lovely.
Oh, that's great.
So we have one portion of it.
Okay, put a sign there. We'll take a picture. You get credit for that too.
Yes.
No, it's a great idea. Thank you. And thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Wonderful. Okay, now we're going to departmental reports. Would Mr. Gosnell like to join us and do parks? And we'll have one of the councilmen do recreation. And then we'll have the constable report. Perry, do you have one of those? Do you have the constable?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. I'll call you in a minute.
Okay,
You want to do recreation?
I'm on it.
Kevin, you want to do animal control officer? You have it? You look or I'll give it to you. Mr. Costello, hi there. You want to give us the parks?
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Springtime, we're gearing up for a lot of projects and we're in the middle of a lot of projects like we always are. One of the big projects that I'm really excited for this year, we are going to be starting to pressure wash the long barn down here, barn that has all of the garage doors in it. We're going to be pressure washing it, we're going to be painting it, and then we're going to be installing all of the new garage doors we bought last season. We just don't want to install the doors before we paint, that way nobody accidentally gets any paint on them. So I'm really excited for that one. I think it'll look awesome when it's done. We spent some time out below the dam. There's a cement bridge that runs across the Fishkill Creek out there. It had a little bit of water damage from one of the storms. And we spent some time out there filling it in, making it, little safer, a little bit more passable. So hopefully people can get out there and use that again. The outdoor bathrooms down at the park are all open in case anybody's, like down there using the park. They are open at this point, which is nice. My team has spent a good amount of time up here in the town hall, taping and painting. And I really want to thank Vincent and Adam. I think they did a really good job.
Nice job.
It's an ongoing
That's good,
project.
yeah.
We'll keep moving around and doing what we can up here as we have time. And then with the warmer weather and painting projects, the first one on deck is we're prepped and ready to go. So hopefully next week, if we get some warm weather, we're going to be painting the deck that is out by the dam, because it's been in need of it for a while. So it's time to do that. And then one of the projects we worked on this past winter and we're pretty excited about is you go down into the park and start heading out the carriage trail. Just over the first bridge on the right-hand side where the creek runs, we started, pulling out a lot of the brush and all of the nastiness that's down there. So now for probably about 100 yards, you can access the creek for the first time in a really long time.
Nice.
And, that's a project that we intend to keep moving on. So we'll just continuously work down the lane, but it's just, again, it's when we have time. It's usually, in the colder months that we get the chance to do that. And it's still raining pretty frequently. As everybody can see, there's water on all the fields. So, yeah. That's what I
Excellent.
got.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilman Derlin, can you read the
Thanks for all
recreation
the hard
report?
work.
Sure can.
He's going to be back in a few minutes.
All right, recreation report. Our summer camp programming is nearly full with sessions 2, 3, and 4 of Tradition Camp completely full and 1 spot left in session 1. Kids Camp has only a handful of seats left across the summer, and our new Teen Leadership Camp has 2 spots left for session 1. Our Egg Hunts for All was a successful event with positive comments all around. We would like to thank the staff that helped during the prep, and to everyone who came out and volunteered for our various accessible egg hunts, especially to Kimberly Skorlick and her family. Our spring break TGTT program was full of sunshine and outside play, and we welcome many new faces to the program. We continue to plan and prep for our summer camp programs and run ASP in the afternoons. We look forward to more good weather for the kids to enjoy.
Wonderful. And I would suggest people go to Facebook and see some of those cute pictures of the kids during the egg hunt. Councilman Welsh, would you like to read do you have, or is
No.
Councilman Gussakoff, could you do the constable report?
Constable,
Thank you.
yes. Okay. Constable's report. Hi, Betsy. Below is the constable monthly report for March 2022. Constables patrolled approximately 593 miles of town roads, including all properties, filing the Explorer with 40.4 gallons of gasoline. The 3 town court dates total 44 cases on the dockets, with 19 actual appearances. 3 cases were dismissed for failure to prosecute. There were no issues to report. Constables had nothing to report during patrols. An Explorer was in for exhaust repair, costing $540. Respectfully, George Treadwell.
Excellent, thank you. Reminds me, we need to talk about those cameras too.
Mhm.
Councilman McGivney, do you mind reading the Animal Control Officer's report?
Unionville Animal Control Officer Report, March 2022. During the month of March, there were no lost dogs, no found dogs, one complaint regarding dogs running at large. Residents should be aware that even though Unionville is a rural town, dogs running at large, not under control of their owner, is in conflict with Town Code Chapter 92, Article 92-2. Respectfully submitted, Mary Jean Calvi.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next up, we have our Library Services Coordinator, Laura Sumner. Hi, Laura. Do you mind, come on up and join us there?
So I'll just be brief. We've had for about 7 weeks now the interim library services. And those would be digital. So that would be audiobooks, ebooks that you can download. We have press reader, which is periodicals, and also movie streaming is available. No one has done it yet, but you can also rent DVDs as well. Well, not rent them, you can borrow them. We have 10 people who have signed up to get new library cards this past 7 weeks. And so if anyone wants a library card, you can just go on the town website under library services and you can get one. And then I can walk you through how to get these services. So moving forward, we have been working with Alex Cohen, who's the library consultant. And he set up 2 kinds of meetings. One are small group Zoom meetings for no more than 10 people. And then we have 2 large meetings set up on 2 different Saturdays from 10 to noon at the senior center. And that would be for a larger group roundtable. So if anyone is interested in either the smaller group meetings, we still have room. And if you're interested in the larger meetings, please just RSVP me. And my email is on the website. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Is there anything else that?
No, that sounds good. I mean, it's good that you're there and people will learn more and more about it after we've kind of had this soft relaunch. And as people learn more, I think they'll know they can go into their their old favorite library, or maybe their still favorite library, and they can come and get other things from you that they can't get there. So hopefully that'll work out.
Yeah.
And I know they'll enjoy dealing with you, and it's been a pleasure. So thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, next up, now we have old business. And I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware that the town center zone and private roads and common driveways moratorium is now in effect. We have gotten our first report back with recommendations from Nan Stolzenthal, our planner, and you got your copy. Former planning board chair, Councilman Durland, is on the group, as well as Councilman Welsh, and they're balancing when one can't make it. They're both there. We have that report. I'm going to distribute that to the board, and then we're going to have a conversation about what she's recommending.
Okay.
First, we're going to have a meeting with her on a Zoom call with the work group, with the attorney and engineer and those people, and the planner and the planning board chair, to hear her explain why she's recommending what she's recommending. And that should happen next week. And then we'll have a report for the board and we can review what her recommendations are in writing. I just think after we have a conversation with her, she might make some changes.
Okay.
So we'll distribute that. But anyway, that is a work in progress. And as we get closer and closer to coming up to, I guess, with an agreed list, that will be shared publicly. The library consultant, as Laura Sumner mentioned, Alex Cohen is, he started with 2 Zoom calls, and then is adjusting how he's handling those meetings based on what he heard from some of the people. And he's going to have a classic roundtable discussion with groups of 10. And he wants He's changing it. That's not what it was before. It was more of a kind of a Venn diagram overview of things. But anyway, he is changing it to more of a classic roundtable discussion. He really wants to hear what people think. So you can go to library@unionvaleny.us and Laura will send you the doodle poll, which is a way to just sign up to one of the Zoom meetings that he's outlined. So please contact Laura Sumner. Her email is on the website, and I just said it, so you should have it and go. Please participate. We want to hear what everybody thinks. It's a very important topic. Okay, and Alex is going to prepare a report at the end of all of these meetings. At this point, we have capital projects and ARPA expenditures. Can you pass that down? Or you guys might have this already? Oh, you have it. You guys have this? Okay.
Yes, we have it.
Okay. So then we're going to go back to a couple of brief things and then have Jake Gosnell come back. So this is our capital projects list of, now it's two-sided. On the front, you see a lot of, there's things on the front that we've been talking about for a long time. And then there are things on lower down that we've added out of residents' requests, staff requests, need, all of that. So we've got 19 items on the first page. And there are some things on here we don't need immediately, that like the code enforcement constable vehicle. Our thought there was we need to, that after 125,000, it's probably right. I think at 85 or 87 right now. I'm not sure.
A few years at least.
Yeah, by 2024, we should see that coming and maybe have a reserve fund set up to put some money aside, because that's not going to be, it's not a cheap thing. But as we're able to see these things coming, we need to put the money aside so we can do a little bit each year and not be shocked when we have to replace it. But the ones on here, and even if we took some of those off, which are the bigger ones, that list is at 1.8 million. It doesn't include the 6 large town culverts that the highway superintendent referenced and has told us about, because we are pursuing some grant money for those. And so they're not on the list yet, because we'd be hopeful that we might get some help there. 850,000 is the dam. And the things on here that are important that we're going to talk about tonight and vote on is the Chevy Silverado for parks. And the rest of them, what I would like to do, I think the attendance booth, we can vote on tonight in a motion. But the discussion I want to have is the ARPA money, because we had talked last year about the biggest item that we have aside from the dam, which we can't get any grant money for right now. And I did hear of a new place that maybe might have some grant money in the future, so I'm going to write them. But nothing. It just they'll pay you a little something to get rid of it, but not to maintain it or to test it like we want to do and build it.
Just a quick question: were there any of these prices adjusted for inflation? I know we've been talking about a lot of these projects.
Yeah. You see that number 8
off the wall right now.
Yeah, no, you're right. We took number 8, which had been on this thing for 2 years, is 350,000.
Okay.
And we moved it up 20%. Now that's the new roof at number 8 Timor Park Road. We added, we've got that up to 420,000. Last year we talked about, we're going to need that new roof. We're going to have to do the engineering work, just like we're going to have to do the engineering work for culverts, and then put it out to bid. But we had talked about last year, that would be a very good project for the ARPA money. It's the biggest thing we have, aside, like I said, aside from the dam. We can't, right now, there's a flashing problem around the cupola. There's water coming in, and we have the gentleman that's helping us maintain it. He's going to come in on a Saturday or a Sunday and try to and stop that water from leaking in because of all the rain we've had. But that is something that it's important that we make a decision on, because the ARPA money, it's much easier to use that money for one big project, to be honest with you, than have to report to them on 10 different things because of the way they want the reporting done. It's really complicated. We are using, the criteria we're using is lost income. And the Treasury changed the rules so that you could lose up to $10 million of income and it could be put in there. But this one project might even wipe out our ARPA money. I mean, it's close because as Councilman McGivney is saying, we bumped it up 20%, but it could go, what the real numbers look like.
Get into it.
Yeah.
Damage.
But we're not going to want to we're not gonna want to pay for that out of pocket. If the town moves forward with a library renovation, then that money would be part of that, and it's gonna be well spent. Either way, we're putting the roof on. So that's something that we need to commit to using the ARPA money for. And we should probably go ahead and commit to the attendance booth, and then Jake will be back. You want to come up and join us, Jake? Because we're going to go right to your part next. We're going to move this agenda around a little bit. So tonight I would, I want us to consider the number 3 on this list, number 7 on this list, and number 8. Not that we're taking any action on number 8, but I need to tell them what we're committing to, and that would be the smartest one. And then we were talking today, I think what would be really helpful to have, because town board meetings are late at night and that people, I would love to have one workshop just on this list with staff, and maybe some, like, one of the things we put on the list is a playground at Godfrey Park. We're estimating it at 75,000, and it depends on what you want to put in there.
Yeah.
We all realize that, but it would be nice if we could get a couple of residents from that use that park. We had remember when we met that couple that really wanted the new playground on the green? We could have people like that come over and join us and have conversations of the list, and then we can fine tune this list as we go. But we do have 1.6 million in our capital projects fund that we're planning on working with, and we can prioritize this from there. But I do think we need to spend a couple of hours, maybe a Saturday morning early if people don't mind, but I roll the sleeves up and dive in, because there's a lot on here. And the wish list is on the back. These are items that were given to me. I asked the staff to submit some. And I will say that also on this list that we did talk about before, and it should be on this page, garage windows, number 6 for the highway garage. That's on Ed Kading's list. That's a general fund expense. Number 11 is the pickup truck, the rake, and the boom mower. Number 9, 10, and 11 are on the highway department's wish list for capital for spending. And we've already talked about the garage windows, which would come out of the general fund. Now, we have money in the highway. I didn't call out all the numbers tonight, but we do have in the reserve, we have $141,000 if I round it up, $141,000 in a highway reserve fund for a truck, which we were putting aside for a large snowplow, but Ed is convinced that he can keep maintaining those with a good mechanic and not spend $250,000 at one. He would prefer to have a pickup truck instead, and we do have that money in reserve.
Oh, good, okay.
Okay, and then we could continue to build that reserve fund for the
Yeah.
bigger, more expensive, but he thinks he can get more life out of those snowplow trucks by maintaining them the way he's been, means more part costs, but they're doing a good job.
Yeah,
So there we are, as far as what I think we should talk about tonight. And at this point, I think we should fast forward. We'll come back to the other 2 items in new business. But if you could go to the package, since Jake is here, it starts with Johnson Controls, and we'll walk through, that's just a regular expense, and then we'll walk through the things that you were sent earlier in the week. So, Mr. Gosnell, you want to walk us through Johnson Controls?
Okay, Johnson Controls is who we use. They service our fire extinguishers. So they come in yearly, they service them, they remove the ones that are not charged, need to be charged, they replace them with new ones. But they also maintain our fire suppression unit in the concession stand, which is the hood and the Ansel system, which is over that, in case we have a grease fire or anything like that. There are basically everything on here, the cylinder, the pull station, the lines, and the nozzles that go to it have a 12-year shelf life, and we are at the end of the 12-year shelf life. And I remember the first time I met Stuart, who was the original guy who used to come around into the mall, he said, "Oh, you've got about 5 years," which was, 6 years ago when I met him. So we are right on schedule. They do everything, and back here in the typed up estimate, this is all of the material that we need for it is all on state bid, because it's New York State contract, pricing. So
that's good.
We just, it's one of those things, we have the concession stand, it's something that needs to be done. We won't have to do it again for another 12 years, which is nice.
Yeah. Okay, and that's $1,931.86.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, and this is our normal provider anyway. All right, so let's just take this piecemeal. We want to make a motion and approve this expenditure to replace the cylinder and everything that's needed, also to get that concession stand in order, because now the season is, she's getting ready to gear up.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, may I, well, just made that motion that we approve this expenditure for the concession stand at the request of the Parks Manager.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Okay. All right, thank you. Next up, do you want to go through and explain first of all, the bill for the Ford 350?
So we're here again tonight. We spoke a couple of months ago about the F-350 we have, which is a diesel that we've been having lots of problems with. And the idea was to go out to bid, to buy another truck to replace said truck and then put it up for auction. Well, the truck is at Ford again right now. And the bill to fix it so that we can auction it off is $1,452.13. So I just need approval for that so we can get it fixed and we can then auction it off.
It's like a good riddance.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to get it fixed so we get rid of it.
Second.
Pay the bill. You're seconding. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Any opposed? No. Any opposed, rather?
Good riddance.
Yes, good riddance to that truck. Even Ford agreed that we.
Yeah, we
you gotta
spoke
get rid of
to,
that truck.
we spent a lot of time going back and forth when it was in the shop last time. Keith is the manager over there, and he said, he's like, I'm not quite sure why, you know, like, it's just not the truck that we need for what we do with it, so.
He said we shouldn't buy a diesel truck for the parks.
Yeah, so we are. What year is that truck? It's a 2015. It's a
Remember
2015.
we went through those expenses, Kevin? They were crazy. Yeah.
So I'm glad you're looking at a Silverado now.
But yeah, so we went back out, we went out to bid. I don't know the date. I believe it was in February and we got 0 responses. And basically it was because all the 2022s were gone. And I was advised to wait until the beginning of April and then we would get the 2023s. So I just got that bid, got a bid back. And the only people that responded were with Chevys. So
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it's the exact same build that I would get from any of the manufacturers. It's just.
So you,
Delivery date on that one, or?
He said it wouldn't take too long. I spoke to him on the phone, I guess, Monday. And he was like, once, you know, you guys approve it and you give me the thumbs up, he's like, it really shouldn't take all of that.
because he has a committed fleet coming in.
Yes.
Right?
So
Okay.
I don't know where he's pulling them from, but he doesn't seem to think it's gonna be all that crazy. So.
So what are we doing with the Ford at that point? Are we gonna wait to get the new truck? I guess we have to wait to get the new truck in.
At this point,
What about your usage?
See you later.
well, at this point, I haven't had the truck for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and you felt
And we've been,
fine with that.
I mean, not fine, it's been a pain, but we have the dump
The
truck, so
management,
we've been
yeah.
running around with that. So at this point, I would rather not run the risk of the check engine light coming on again and us putting it back in. And once we get it back, because it's gonna take, I think she said it would take 3 to 5 days just to repeat the part we need. They'll do it, we can get it back, you know, we can wash it once more and then we can call the auction guys.
Quick, before it breaks again.
Could we trade that truck in for the purchase of the new truck or no?
I don't know how that works as far as like
Because it's
the
a state
OGS
bid
stuff.
thing?
Yeah, that kind of muddies the waters. I don't know if we.
I think it
we've
does
never
too.
done it.
I think it's cleaner to get the auction money.
Yeah, because.
And we may get more.
Yeah, we may get more. Some naive buyer may think.
If
it's
you
good.
try to trade it in, the dealer's
Yeah.
not gonna wanna pay as much
Yeah,
as an
yeah,
auction.
yeah.
Going into like grass season and all that, you're switching from winter to grass with one truck less.
I mean, we did today. We mowed up at Godfrey some today because we have baseball on the field up there. So we had to, you know, we just kind of make do. It is what it is at this point. So
Hopefully they get you that other truck.
You're without it half the time anyway.
yeah,
We're given the repair bills, you've been missing that truck way too much, so this would be the speediest way to
I
get.
mean, it was the last time it snowed to the point where we had to use the plows. That the check engine light came back on and it limited itself to 50 miles an hour again. So, yeah.
So the idea is auction that. We also want to talk through the quote for a snowplow to be added to the new truck.
Yeah, it's so yes, so it would be, I guess the question is, because with absolute auctions, because we're a municipality, we have a right to refuse even their highest bidder. If we're like, that's not enough money, we don't have to accept it. And, you know, so I guess the question is, what are we looking to get for the 350? You know, because it's gonna go with the plow that's on it. And I mean, you know, the guys at Absolute are very confident that we're gonna make out pretty well on it.
I think we'll get more than what we
What's the,
thought we would
what's
get.
the book?
Yeah.
She looked up the book.
I looked up the book last time and without the plow, it was anywhere from like 44,000, I believe 47,000, and that's without the plow. Because it has low miles. I mean, it is in very good shape.
And what's the mileage again?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's like 15,000. I mean.
No, it was like 30 something,
Oh, it's
38
double that?
or 40, but yeah.
Must have been the last repair must have been
Almost 8
15,
years old.
Yeah.
So,
but 30,000 even.
so yeah, the
Yeah,
hope
I think we
is,
get more
you
than
know,
that.
that we'll get more for the truck than we
That's
will.
good money, because that'll offset what the new truck's gonna cost.
And then I've got quotes and I called these guys again, because they're basically the same quotes we went through a couple of months ago when we put the plow on the yellow truck that, you know, is our third truck for the winter from the highway department. And everybody pretty much said it's right around the same. They don't have any in stock right now. It would be fall before we would see it.
Right.
But, you know, we're still looking right around the same prices. So I would, Trailer King has been very good to us and was very good to us this last year with getting us in, getting a plow on that truck. And the Boss plow is just a far better plow.
I just bought the same plow for the same truck and price is right in line.
What's,
Oh, good.
what's Hudson River? Because it just has a mild steel. Do you know the brand? on
It's a
that?
Fisher.
So I like Boss too, so.
Yeah, it's the Fisher. It's actually, we have Fisher on the dump truck. It's just not quite as heavy duty. And that's what we have on the 350 as well.
The Boss is a good plow, you know.
Yeah, we put the Boss on the yellow truck and it was really nice as well.
Yeah, it's only $1,000.
This one is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a V plow, yeah.
Yeah. that'll
That's
be
what he
cost
wants,
effective.
yeah, that's what he wants.
Yeah.
So your recommendation is to purchase from Trailer King at the
Mhm.
quoted price.
Yep.
Which we now have somebody who just purchased it and the quote, it's a good
Yeah,
price.
and he just,
That's
all
great.
Tim.
And to accept this quote, so the two, because the two were going together.
Yeah,
It's the plow would be for this new truck.
Yep.
You guys have all the specs. I'm sure you guys are knowledgeable about this and you looked at. It's got everything in there you're looking for, Jake?
yeah, it's a, you know, it's a mid-size, it's a 3/4 ton pickup.
Four-wheel drive.
It's 4-wheel drive. It has a short bed on it. It's a V8 gasoline engine.
Airbags, warranty. And it'll be brand new,
Brand new.
and it's a gas
Yep.
Yeah.
truck, which is what Ford recommended to us for the Parks Department.
Mhm.
For fuel, do you guys have gas down there?
We do. We have a gas pump and a diesel.
Great, okay. So because we've studied this several times, I'm assuming that we're in pretty good shape and you've had time to look at the quote. You guys pretty.
Yeah, I've looked at it, yeah.
All right, so I think we should make a motion to approve this quote, purchase the Chevrolet Silverado and the
Plow.
Trailer King V-shaped snowplow. One is 40,897.02, and the other one is 8695. That's the plow.
Should we do a separate one, too, for the auction of the other truck, or wait until it's fixed?
That's what we just did.
Well, I was gonna, these are the two new purchases. I think we can do this on one motion. Did we do that? We already approved the 14. Yeah, we had a motion for the 1452, so we can do these
Yeah.
together as a new purchase.
Okay, so the
Yeah,
auction, we
yeah.
already approved.
Yes, well, the auction, that could be separate.
Yeah.
We haven't done that yet. Let's,
We'll have to declare it surplus first.
I'm gonna make the motion that we approve these two purchases with the dollar amounts I just read out loud. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of this?
Aye.
Aye, okay, motion carries. And then to your point, I think, Kevin, why don't you make that motion that we want to do that as soon as it comes out, or?
Motion to auction as soon as it's.
We have to make a motion though to declare it surplus first. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, well, Kevin hasn't done that yet. So
Right.
would you like to go ahead and do that?
Want me to make that motion? All right.
Yeah,
I'll
just-
make a motion. We declare the F-350
Just because
surplus.
you haven't done it yet.
Second.
Second, okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now that it's
Now you can
surplus,
do your motion on auction.
Motion, we auction it.
great, with,
Absolutely.
Absolute, yeah.
Last time we-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who we deal with usually.
all right, is there a
Yeah,
second
they
for
did
that
great.
motion?
I second.
Good. Second, all in favor of auctioning the F-350, right?
F-350.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that motion carries. Excellent. Okay, so I've got a document here we can sign tonight,
That'd be great.
and then you'll have that to go take care of
Hopefully we'll
business.
have a new truck
That would be
before
perfect.
too long.
That's outstanding. Terrific. Thanks for all the hard work getting that together, Jake.
Do you
No,
want me
that's
to
great.
wait till the end so we can sign that? And I can. get
You
that
want
up
it
to him
now?
in the
I'll
morning?
just sign it because,
Perfect.
or you do see me in the morning, so we could do it in the morning if you want. What's easier for you? Here,
It's easy for him to do it now, get it over with.
he wants to get over it.
It's a late night already.
I'll wait till the dealership open.
Yeah, right.
I have a feeling he's going over there. I put my mission on my mission.
So we'll be getting a 23 model then.
Yep.
There you go, Jake.
I asked him to get blue,
Um,
matches the park truck.
Before you give the, I need a copy of this before you give it up.
Yep,
So when you're dealing with the dealer, if you're going to scan it, send them to me. if
you
don't
got
mind.
it.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank
guys.
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thanks for sticking around. Okay, so let's reverse, we reversed order. Where's my agenda? Okay. Proposed local law. So we are going to be changing the wording on the zoning amendment process. We talked about this in the work
Mhm,
session.
yes.
Basically what we're going to do is by next week, you're going to get a copy. That's the one where we want to eliminate the redundancy of sending the moratorium requests and things like that to the planning board and waiting 45 days for them to come back to us. We can follow all the kind of stuff. Okay, so that wording will be here on the 27th because we're going to advertise the work session on May 4th as a one that we'll take action in, and we'll have it then.
Yeah.
So you can read it. And then the way that it works is you guys know by now that we would then have a public hearing to talk about the change in the zoning wording.
sure.
I mean, it's just a wording change saying, I think that Jim Nelson was recommending, we didn't finish figuring out, and I wanted something to show you, so that's why we're waiting. But he said that he thought he could use the language that when the town board wanted to make these zoning amendments, that they may submit it to the planning board if we wanted feedback, and if not, that we can just proceed on through. But we would, for things that the planning board is bringing to us to change the legislation for them, obviously we work together with them on that. So that'll be put in the language. Okay, next one. Altice.
Contract renewal.
We have they're calling, they still have it under Cablevision. On the name of, there it is, thank you. The name of the contract. So what we do, if you pass that down to Perry, I've got these copies for you. There is, we're gonna talk about this at the work session. I'm gonna have, Jeff Battistoni has reviewed it, and some of the marks in here are his. Altice made some changes from the previous one, and Jeff Battistoni, apparently, Town of Washington just finished signing almost the exact same contract. It's the same one. There has been hardly any changes between towns. So it's pretty much, I think the things that can change are how much money they're going to give you to operate the channel.
And they stopped billing us, right?
And they stop billing us for what?
Service. Right?
Oh, yeah,
Good luck.
yeah. Tell that story. That's a great, you remembering. I forgot
Yeah.
to say that. Tell that story. That's great.
The old contract gave municipal locations free service. And for whatever reason, we've been paying here, but at the firehouse, we don't pay because it's the same contract. So
And they've been charging us and.
collecting it.
You get credit.
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of like Central Hudson. Nice try. But I think that the good news is they reiterated that we could get free service, and we said, thank you very much. We'll take that. So that's in here. And there are only a couple of things that are outstanding that we'll talk about that night, or how much they're going to offer us to operate our system, because we want to retool the room. And they're gonna offer us some sum of money to help retool the room that we put money in the budget for. And then the other details, I mean, we walked through everything with them. Councilman Welsh and I did. We've had our attorney look at it. So I think at the work session, you guys will have time to read it between now and then. And then we'll have Jeff Battistoni either with us or on Zoom, and we'll go through the details with him then.
Yeah, great.
And then the idea behind that is then we have Altice in for a public hearing. Optimum Altice, even though it says Cablevision on here.
Yeah.
We could have them in for a public hearing later in May. And we could ask the questions in advance and all that stuff, but I think it's helpful to have the public involved with them sitting here in a public hearing. So we could do that in May, is it the 18th, I think?
Yes.
I think it's, okay, May 18th.
Mhm.
So that would be our plan there.
Just free for both fire houses, town hall and park?
Yeah. any
We're all on the
municipal,
same bill, yes.
And the highway garage.
The town is on the same bill with everything.
That should cut some of our expenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and remember, we spent that extra money to get the senior center and everything really retooled last year
Yeah, for
because we
Wi-Fi,
wanted to
yeah.
have all the kids have a place to go. And yeah, that's in good shape. So that is nice. And they were very nice about it. So the resolution of introduction will come, Jeff Battistoni. He'll go through that with us. And I believe that the only thing that's open is how we are going to, is the. What?
We're talking about cable.
Oh, how bad it is or how good it is?
Are you saying?
No,
Our cable will go up.
Ours is free.
This is free here. Ours will go up.
Ours.
Of course.
Yeah.
They're gonna get the money one way or the other. You know
Oh,
that.
gosh. Well, maybe they'll give us, they might give us less to work on the room. They were promising us some nice figures. You never know. Okay, so, and I do, well, we haven't had a lot to do tonight. So we have a motion here to adopt the proposal for the new recycling center shed. We have a proposal on the table that, and it's approximately $12,000. Do you think $12,000 is an appropriate number to use based on the estimates that you were able to get?
I would say 12,000
To cover.
would cover exactly what we need. to
Which
make
is-
it-
Which is good. I'm just saying that we had put 20 to 24,000 when we first were eyeballing, trying to figure out what it would cost us.
Well, that's what it would be. If you went out and bought an attendance booth, that's what it would cost.
Well done. Yeah.
Well done.
Right.
I don't think there's a need for that. I think we're fine the way it is.
Yeah, and I think it'd be nice. Thank you for the customization. All right, may I have a motion to adopt a proposal for the new recycling center shed?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Feel good? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I don't think. Okay, that motion carries.
Thanks for your work on that, Barry.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we already adopted 284. And the motion we haven't finished discussing the plan, but we have two more motions, and one is, let me find, I have another one in here. The one that I want, that I need done for the timing is here, is, I think we need to commit to saying that we need to commit to putting a new roof on Time War Park Road and spending 420,000 or whatever the market rate is at that time.
Up to that, yeah.
Well, up to that, but it may end up being higher. We're gonna end up using the ARPA money, but it may end up being higher because as you mentioned to me today and other people have mentioned that the 20% that we added to this was not labor, it was parts.
Yeah.
So we don't know what the full view will be of that big roof down
Well, you
there.
entered 20, you added 20% to
350.
everything,
To the whole thing.
and part of it is labor, so you might be fine.
So, but the motion is that we're gonna use American Rescue Plan funds to put the roof on, and we're hoping it could end up being less. I don't know, but I don't know that we want to put that sum on. I think we're gonna have
No,
to
we don't
go,
want to put that much, because then the bids might
right,
be jaded.
Do we have to earmark that money by a certain time?
yes. April 30th. It's a computer marking for me. I mean, I have to go into a system and say, I have to go in the system and tell them that we're gonna use the calculation that involves loss of revenue, which is up to $10 million, but they want to know that you have committed. And this is, we've been talking about, this is our commitment since last year,
Yeah.
so since last
So
March.
I think that's a reasonable thing to put that amount in.
It's just a huge dollar amount for us to take on any other way. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
gift,
Right.
right? It's a real
Mhm.
gift to get from them, so.
I mean, the dam is the only other thing that's high dollar like that too, so.
Yeah.
The dam is the only other thing that's high dollar. We can't move forward on that until the water comes down a little bit. And I think that,
Still stuff stagnant, still gotta, yeah. do more
Yeah.
stuff to it, yeah.
and I'm still hopeful that if every now and then they throw a grant out there. I mean, we can't do, and I talked to the county, I've talked to them, they just say, hold the course. Don't rush and do anything else. Wait for the water to come down and do the proper analysis, because you'll get better construction results as a result. So I say, okay, because
Just use patience. That's
yeah,
all.
they said, just be patient, wait for the water to come down and do the test right.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get grants for a dam if seems like most, places want to get rid of them, so.
I agree, but I did hear of one other source that could be federal. So we're checking on that. I don't know, but we got to check
Yeah,
on it.
no, it's worth a shot.
Yeah, but I think the ARPA money for the roof is critical.
Absolutely.
So we need a motion to say that we want to use ARPA money to put a new roof on on number 8 Timewell Park Road.
I'll make a motion.
I'll
Okay,
second it.
Second it. All in favor of using ARPA money for a new roof on Timewell Park Road?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay, that motion carries. Now, do you want to, the other items on here, I mean, Jake's was critical. The others we can talk through. I think we can spend some time. This one's good. I think we can spend some time getting quotes. They weren't pressing, like Jake's quote came in and we were kind of surprised by it. So the rest of these, we could still get dollars on, like the garage windows for the highway. That was $27,790. We haven't gotten that quote again yet. So I'm going to work on these and put them together for another meeting.
Okay.
But the ones that I circled on my list, which was 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 are the ones that we're going to work on getting pricing for. The large town culverts, what we're going to do there is I'm going to come back to you. Oh, this should be a second vote, maybe.
I got a question on what we just voted on with the roof. Are we constrained to a certain time where we have to spend the money, or like you have 2024 that takes to 2026, or we gonna have an issue?
We have to,
where-
yes, we are going to have an issue. We have to spend it at the probably a couple of years, within 2 years.
Depending on what happens, things may not be done by that time, to re-
Well, I don't think that the work has to be done on it. I think we have to be in motion. We're going to be in motion one way or the other.
I didn't know if there was a certain date that you had to spend it, or it's,
No, they revised everything. So they started out there, Kevin, and then they got better and better. I think they had a lot of complaints from people saying it's not practical for big infrastructure projects. So so they really loosened up. They raised the income to 10 million. They said if they could, you got to show them that you've got works in progress, that you're going to spend the money. They don't want you sitting on the money.
I didn't want them to say you got to spend it by a certain date. Type situation where we earmark it and maybe we don't get to that date, maybe we're further out.
Well, I don't think the roof can wait more than 2 years anyway.
No, well, Bob Turner, when he comes and does the repair on the cupola, he's going to give me another update.
And that's the newest part of that roof. Those cupolas were replaced about 6
bet
years
it hasn't
ago.
gotten any better.
No, but I think that
Yeah.
Jake had told me that he thought that they weren't done correctly initially, and Bob
That I
said
can believe it.
Bob said from the way it looked to him that they weren't done correctly.
I don't doubt it.
So that's why. So
Seems to happen all the time with cupolas.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
never get installed or flashed
Yeah.
right.
Get one of those on the recycling center shed, a little cupola.
yeah,
Yeah.
With a weather vane.
Weather vane or something.
good idea.
Yeah, it's a little plain looking like that.
Got a
Do
couple
something.
hundred left. over.
Okay, but one more order of business with the ARPA funds, and I didn't want to put the second thing in there, but the large town culverts. The idea behind the large town culverts is to get, there's a grant coming up that we can apply for. It's not a huge lift according to the county planning guys, so it wouldn't be a huge lift. But what we'd have to agree to is that the cost of the engineering analysis on those 6 culverts could be as high as $20,000. And we have to go through the state procurement policies, and we have to have a proper engineering study done in advance of applying for the grant so it could go with it. So what most people are doing and what the engineers are recommending is you put aside ARPA money for the engineering studies for a big one like these 6 culverts, apply ARPA money to that, which would be spent right away. And then let them conduct the analysis and then
Yeah.
submit everything for the bill.
Makes sense.
For this one, I would say that we would use the funds I would say up to 20. I think if it goes beyond that, we can pay it ourselves, but up to 20,000 of the ARPA funds to provide engineering studies for town culverts that are in need of repair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. May I have a second? That'll be the motion.
Second.
Any opposed? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of putting that 20K aside, then we're set.
Aye.
Say aye. I think everybody said aye. Okay. So we'll have the engineering study done on those. We can get working on that right away. Ed's worried about a couple of them, so we did want to get moving. And then we've got to that. the rest of these things, we'll start gathering new quotes that are accurate and up to date. And we'll have, I'd like to schedule that work session where we can talk through these lists and really prioritize, because a few things, they're not high priority this year, but then I think it would lead us to a great discussion of what we're going to reserve money for and set, the rainy day fund for future needs. And where we look at all of our future needs and what we see coming, the big stuff. And then these are some wish lists, but we do have that other 1.6
That
million.
pool one we have to do, right? The
Yeah, we
40.
talked about that cover before. Was it last year?
Yeah, it says it was supposed to be done by 2021.
I know, but then
So-
they may do.
So it must be really high priority now.
Yes, it is. We let it go because,
Yeah.
we let
Like
it
September
go.
of this year.
Now we have until October or whenever they cover up the pool, September. We do have a little more time and we do have 2 people to get quotes from. And they had one from before. So I think we
Yeah.
could go ahead and work on
That we
that.
can't sit on,
And I'm sure it's like everything else, difficult to get.
probably.
Things are right now.
So we gotta move on.
So we
Water.
should move on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then look at these wish list items. They're interesting. Like, this has been, some of these a lot of these are park, but, remove the baseball fields and install a full-size soccer field, which we get asked to do regularly. And look at that, the baseball fields hold water. So there'd be some.
Talking about raising the grade there too.
Yeah, and rerouting the water. We've had Ed down to look at it. We've had some other people look at it. There's some work that would need to be done,
Looking it up.
but it would be anyway, those are wish lists. But I think the Godfrey playground would be Godfrey playground is on the front page because it's just really important
It's
that we
long
upgrade it.
long overdue.
Overdue, it would be brand new. And then also, they'll have that same soft surface
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
the park
Yeah,
over
our
here
kids
has. It's
enjoy
been
here,
really
yeah.
nice. And that the families over there would love it. And, that's a made up quote. We were just guessing.
Mhm.
So do you
think
like the
somebody's
idea of having a work session or do you want to do it in an evening? Want to just plan a separate evening, maybe add a special meeting on, or do you want to have it on a Saturday morning?
I prefer evening special meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, evening.
we want to start it earlier, like at a 5:30 or something?
Yeah, that's
People can
fine.
get here. Can you get here? No, 6? Could you get here?
Can you do it on a work session night?
Yeah, I mean, we could,
Just come a little early.
and then we could invite like some of the residents in Godfrey people over and say, come join us and have a
Mhm.
chat.
Mhm,
It's a
sure.
little easier to have a chat and then
So that means we would
Usually
probably do it in June.
not as formal
Is
as.
June okay? Because we're
as like
booked
a
for
night
May.
Tonight, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, June is
And we
good.
could have pizza. If you get home late from work and you haven't been able to eat, we could
And I should be able to make that shit, so.
think, okay.
All right, yeah, that sounds.
So
like a
let's
good
plan
idea.
it June,
First Wednesday in June.
yeah,
Okay,
6, we'll do it at 6 PM and bring some residents in, invite them in, and then have a conversation about the wish list, and
great.
that'll help inform our decisions, and then we can work, but we know that, like, that cement bridge down in the park, that's another one we got to get real quotes for. That's got to get done, but Ed has another idea for how to save a lot of money doing it. So we'll get those quotes too. So that's another one, but that one's, they can't drive over that. There are some safety issues that we're gonna prioritize, and then the rest could be wish lists and let the residents help us out. Good? Everybody good? That sounds like a good plan to me. Last vote, we need bank transfers.
Pay bills.
Yes, the one thing we didn't go through, and we don't need to, take it home and read it before you go to bed tonight.
Oh, yeah.
All the grayed out lists on here, everything grayed out are escrow monies that were returned because applications were old
Mhm.
or closed.
Yeah,
So the blue color in the front are all current. Those are our current applications. We only have one that owes us money, but that's gonna be an easy one to collect because they're not open yet and that sort of thing. So you can look at it, but we got a lot of escrow monies out of here, even the cross orchards and people that have been sitting there for a long time.
You didn't want to apply this one to the ticket they're about to do?
Yes, that's a good one. Now, the last motion I think that we should make tonight is transfers. We need to make a bank transfer to cover escrow bills that was paid out by the general fund. So the general fund paid $8,300.67. And these were things like for the lawyers and engineers before the bills had come in. I mean, we paid the lawyers before we knew it was planning board. We also paid that money because of legal notices and postage and things that when the bills came in, we paid them and then we have to recover it from escrow. So we need $8,300.67 back into the general fund from escrow. And we also, there was a mistake made because of bad paperwork, I think. There was a $500 zoning board fee that was deposited into an escrow account. It really goes into the zoning board's fee account. So those two things
okay.
have to be.
Is that for Sparrow's Nest?
No, that one was never deposited. We just returned that to them.
Oh, okay.
No, this was one that was deposited in error because it wasn't,
all right.
it looked like escrow, but in fact it was a fee.
Oh, okay.
So that needs to come out of escrow and get back into the general fund.
I see.
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve these two transfers to cover escrow bills paid by the general fund and to remove a zoning board fee deposited into the escrow account. One's $8,300.67 and the other one is $500. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, I said aye. Great. All right, we can do that tomorrow. Thank you.
And one more motion, pay the bills.
Pay the bills. I'll second that. All in favor of paying the bills?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Did we have any other comments on agenda? No. Public issues, anything? You guys are still awake. I'm very impressed.
Thanks for sitting through all this. Loyal citizens.
You are. Thank you for coming. Thanks for presenting. So we'll talk tomorrow when the signs come in. We're calling you. Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, we can talk. Jake is going to want to keep mowing some of them because it provides too much work for him, but there's some that, like you said, are naturally not mowed. So we can put the sign right on there. Does that mean the town has to pay for those signs? Just kidding. We'll pay you. The CAC has a limited budget.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I like it. That's great. All right, you're a good fundraiser for them. So we'll talk tomorrow. Thank you. Appreciate it. Pardon me? Well, the story that they sent, that New York Times article that I sent you guys, there was a guy got angry at his neighbor and went over and mowed it without asking her because she wasn't mowed it. They thought she was being a jerk. And then another town, they're both in Wisconsin. Another incident, this lady didn't want to mow, but she didn't have a sign. And the police came because they thought something was wrong, like she had passed away in her house. So- It looks like we do. We do. Yeah. George has to go up on, there's a house up for 12. We just had a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting tonight. Thank you all for your patience. We got a lot done. We had some great guests and we appreciate you being here. Good night.